Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. The War Report is back for another Tuesday night edition of the VIP Lounge Kickback Show, where we are going to continue the conversation from Uninterrupted. This might be risky. I'm probably here by myself at the moment because everyone is still over there, but that's all right. I'm going to fill the space with a little bit of banter. Here, let me go over there and see what's going on. I know they were supposed to wrap up the conversation um, shortly, so hopefully, once that ceases to be, people can come join us here in the kickback before we go to the women's POV at 9 o'clock. This might be risky. Trying to also pin a link to the top of the chat. Just in case anybody wants to go ahead and hit the panel, you'll be more than welcome. Let's see if I can get that accomplished right now. And if not, oh well. You know what? I need a better mouse. I'm sitting here using the mouse. Anyway, let's see. So, what I will do, that way, and then no, let's just. At any rate, the link is there. Let me see if I go about it this way. Oh. Nope. Oh well. Fuck it. Very well. Let me see if I can get the link sent out to my business partners. I think I'm going to be alone on this one today. Chill's wife's birthday is today. Happy birthday to her. So they're making that a full day event. And of course, our resident politician, Counselor Maverick, has political shit to do. I think he's got meetings and such going on. People are looking to his leadership. So he's also going to be spreading himself relatively thin there. But if they can make it just to say hello, I'm sure they will. What I'm trying to do now is get them. In the meantime, what I can do. So, let's see. I'm trying to get some people, trying to get the other war reporters here. First of all, let's get rid of that. Thank you very much. Amanaz in the building. Damn, you early. Aren't they still streaming over at Hamp's panel? Appreciate you showing up early. If you'd like to join the panel, you're more than welcome. I'm just waiting for DJ Hamp to finish up and send everybody this way for this week's VIP Lounge edition kickback show. Judah, what's good? What's happening, man? Like I was saying, just waiting on this might be risky. Then what I'm trying to do is get my business partners up here to see if one of them will be able to join us. I know Mr. Chill Out's wife's birthday is today, so I'm not terribly sure that he'll be able to make it, as they're making that celebration an all-day event. And I know that our resident politician, Councilor Maverick, has meetings and such today. We'll see if he can make it later on. I mean, I'm surprised. Let's see. He's got a meeting at 6:30. Jeez, man. A rec meeting. I don't even know what that is. But yeah, man. Duty calls, especially when you're an elected official. So he's going to be handling that actually in about 20 minutes. Hopefully it doesn't last too long. And he can join in on the fun. But if anybody wants to join the panel, feel free. I was thinking, man, like the conversation today was very interesting. And I think it's a conversation that needs to be had, right? Like, especially when it comes to Black families and the way that the crooked lamp, sorry about that. And the way that, finances are looked at, especially in the vetting process between men and women. It seems like everybody will only quote unquote sell themselves to the highest bidder. I don't know that is really the best plan of attack when vetting for a spouse. Certainly, one should be fiscally responsible and should have marketable skill and results to show. But like I was saying in the show earlier, I think it's wholly irresponsible to look to people to satisfy your lifestyle desires, as opposed to actually getting the job done when it comes to raising a family. So if anybody would like to join the conversation, you're more than welcome. I would like to hear some other people's thoughts on that, because it was starting to go all over the place, especially Eda Man kind of got wedged in there. And when I made the comment about starting family businesses and trusts, and he's like, well, no, that's not the way to do it. The first thing you want to do is get, insurance. And I'm like, no. I'm not giving advice on the order and steps on which family finances should be handled. I'm just saying the prioritization of family finances is mismanaged and misguided, and that whole conversation needs to be happening more often than not. It needs to be, I think, a leading conversation, if I'm honest, especially when we're talking about six figures. You know what I mean? So, Through the Fire podcast, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, got my own channel. We've been here for maybe 6 weeks, 2 months, something like that. I would say, yeah, since June maybe. I have two business partners that are up here with me. Maverick, who's our resident politician, he's a council person, and Mr. Chill Out, he's our resident artist. Mr. Chill Out's wife, I was saying earlier, is going to be, not going to be available or his wife's birthday, so he's not going to be available. It's an all day event, and Maverick is in council chambers in meetings, so he should be here after that. But you're more than welcome to hit the panel if you haven't seen the link. I'll post it again. Bang. We're just continuing the conversation on Tuesday nights. This is pretty much like a stopgap or a filler, just to fill the space between the Risky Uninterrupted Day show and Women's POV, which goes at 9, just to kind of continue the conversation. Sometimes the conversation can get exciting or, volatile, and to just cut it off seems to be unfair to the audience. So looking forward to continuing it here. But what I was saying about Eat a Man, going into the whole, I think it was just a conflation of what was said. And I think Beans made some great points on how the blue collar man is no longer regarded as something to respect. You know what I mean? And I think in the black community, people are so wrapped up in lifestyle, doing it for the gram, so to speak, travel, being a passport person, not in the sense of finding wives outside of the country, but passport people just in the fact that they travel, just racking up stamps in their passport. You know what I mean? So I'm Slick, what's up, man? I'm not, and you know what? And like Charles, what's going on, man? Feel free to hit the link. And I'm a person that likes to travel, right? So instead of listening, Judah, yeah. I'm not a person that, I like to travel and all that sort of thing. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that we shouldn't travel. I also believe that we should expand our sense of culture globally. But you have people that work and they want someone that makes 6 figures just so they can help them stamp their passport, go to Paris and buy fashionable items and come on, like, what are we doing? This is why black people don't own anything here in America, because we spend it all before we get a chance to own. We don't buy anything, and then we do things like we save up for it. I want to save up for it. The way I see it, I'm not favorite country. Yeah, you know what? It's a good question. I'll answer that in a minute. I'm not one to save up for anything. I don't ask how much things cost, large ticket items. I ask them how much are they stand to make me, And I don't believe in saving up for things. I believe if there's a large ticket item that you want, create a stream of income to be able to afford it. Because once you've made that purchase and that purchase goes away, which it will, let's say a 2-week trip to Europe, that stream of income that provided you that trip will still be there, providing more income, rather than sacrificing and saving up money just to burn it in something that's not going to ever yield anything in return except memories and Instagram photographs. Favorite country that I've visited? Yeah. That's a good question. Well, so I lived in Asia for a long time, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed living in Japan. I'm kind of biased there. I also had a good time in France. I really enjoyed France. I really enjoyed Germany. Favorite country? I'd say England, because I like the way, just the culture, the people, the way people treat one another, the language, the sense of humor, just the whole climate, the social climate of that country just kind of fits me. It's stoic, proper, but funny and warm at the same time, and the humor is wrapped up in sarcasm. And believe it or not, they're a soulful bunch of people. The music industry in England is insane. I mean, bands like the Beatles came from there. They have a lot of a great musical culture in England. But I can't say unequivocally England, because the food in France is bar none the best. The culinary tour of France is insane. And then I love living in Japan. But the hospitality of England, yeah, it is really unlike any, and their sense of fashion too. It's amazing. If I were to say someone had one stamp to put in their passport and one only, I would suggest England. That way you don't have to defeat the language barrier. You can get right into the culture, So we have a question: should money and resources have morals and ethics attached? Yeah, absolutely. That's how you keep greed and corruption out of the way, at least in a macro sense, anyway. And from a micro sense, I think it keeps you disciplined. It keeps your priorities in line. And I'm not saying that I'm not approaching this as like an all work, makes Jack a dull boy kind of a perspective, but yeah, money and resources should have morals and ethics attached 100%. I mean, because without them, you can weaponize money and resources, or you'll weaponize other things in the pursuit of money and resources, right? So, I think morals and ethics are exactly the checks and balances that keep money and resources, or the pursuit thereof, in check. It's my belief that the vast majority of war, 99.9% of wars, are a competition for resources. If you really think about it, be it land or resources that the land provides, the human resource. So yeah, morals and ethics will kind of keep that quelled down, as especially if they're shared. You know what I mean? And they can create conflicts within themselves, hence the Crusades. But that's another conversation. But yeah, absolutely. I think that that's an imperative that should 100% happen. There's another question. Charles, so an ethical thief is a fool to his progress. So, well, no. See, when you use words like ethical and then thief back to back, did the starving slave that raided the plantation house for food, is that a thief? Well, by technical definition, yeah, it's stealing something that doesn't belong to you. Is it an ethical thief? Yes. Does that make that slave a fool? No. To their own progression? No, to their own survival. You know what I mean? Like there's many ways to look at that. I don't believe that ethical and thief belong together, because then they start to self-cancel. Is a thief a fool to his own progression? Yes. Devoid of ethics? Yes. But an ethical thief, I don't really think is a thief at all. If it's genuinely ethical, it is an unfortunate response to a problem that shouldn't exist to begin with. And I don't think it's foolish at all to seek a solution to that problem. And that's not to say a homeless person can come walking into my house and help himself to a ribeye. No, especially not in this country. But I've operated in countries where I wasn't mad. You know what I mean? That they, snatched some food off of, a pallet or whatever. In fact, when that happened, I'd give them a couple bottles of water and another MRE, or whatever the case is. Like, I get it. You know what I mean? It's dusty out here, and you showed up walking up this gutter full of feces, and you ain't even got any shoes on. So of course, I don't think that's theft. You know what I mean? Let's see. What's going on, TJ?
Hey, what's up, Aaron? Can you hear me pretty good?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good. I got a few minutes. I'm about to go head out to the white man's plantation for the night.
I can dig it, man. Thanks for blessing the space, though. It's your first time up here. I can't thank you enough for coming to say hello, man.
Yeah, I don't go up on panels that much anymore. I tend to I become more self-aware that they're ultra triggering for me. So I tend to just do my little 2-hour stream once a week. I pre-recorded and uploaded it, and interact with people, and then I'll stay in the chat most of the time unless it's something I find very, very informative. But what I wanted to get into today a little bit, you touched on it a second ago, is how mind numbing the six-figure conversation actually is, because there's a severe gross misunderstanding, in which I don't understand how as a collective we don't understand that the overwhelming majority of people, Aaron, don't make over 50. They don't make over 50. And this notion that to me, even indulging the conversation about these six-figure earners is, I think, a detriment to people's understanding, because they think because the conversation is so pervasive, then the six figures is easy to obtain. So let me explain something to you. So per dollar an hour, I have a decent wage on a per dollar an hour at one of my jobs. But and it's the one I'm about to go to, Aaron. Do you not understand? People don't understand. Let me see. This is September, right? So I passed 80K at the end of July. So I'm gonna at this one string, because I work two full-time jobs. So this one, I'm gonna bypass 100K. They don't understand that at this one job, that means that I'm working on average about 60 hours a week. You don't understand what it takes to get that. And the ladies on the other side of that talk about they want this high earning over six-figure guy. They don't understand that those of us who earn, a lot of men, once they start eclipsing the $60,000 to $70,000 a year mark, these ladies don't understand. We become very protective of those resources.
Oh yeah.
You don't see it. A lot of these ladies believe that if a guy, like I'm going to project out, I'm just guessing, I'm going to get close to 200 this year. You know what I mean? So, but these ladies don't understand, when you work that much, that hard, shovel and eat the amount of garbage you got to shovel and eat for it. We don't wear that crap on our wrist, on our shoes, and it offends me to buy a $100 pair of jeans. You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of these ladies, they don't understand what a six-figure, quote unquote, high earning guy even looks like out in the wild. And I'm not talking about just my physical look. I'm an ugly Negro, and that's okay. They don't understand that I'm like, my daily driver is a 2008 Chevy Avalanche with 210,000 miles on it. That's my daily driver. That's what they're going to see me in on a regular basis. They're going to see me in very basic clothes, very basic this, just kind of going about my business. And so they don't understand that while they're out here looking for or wishing to obtain these guys with this level of income, you walk past them. When you walk past them, you don't see them, because they don't look like what you think of a guy who's that kind of an earner, what he should look like. The second thing that I got a big problem with, Aaron, is the fact is I don't understand how a group of people can believe and convince themselves that they are entitled to another person's resources. It does not matter if we are in the dating phase. A woman will not understand, or what, unless she gets invited to my home, she will probably never understand what I actually earn. And I'm not going out or approaching a woman and telling her how much I earn, that's none of your damn business, what I earn. If we're not jiving together, getting along, aligned morally on a lot of different things, if we're not clicking, why do you need to know because it doesn't belong to you, and you're not entitled to it, and you're not going to just get it just because you may open your legs for me. And a lot of these ladies up here, they be like, well, I need a guy who makes $180,000 or $200,000 a year. Oh, for what? When you might not marry that man to begin with. So the six-figure conversation is just wild to me on so many levels, especially when you start talking about, when we're in the spaces, Aaron, and we start talking about high earning women, and high earning women is like a needle in a haystack. You know, the
Yeah.
Sherelles of the world is a needle in a damn haystack.
Right.
They are. And so for me, they're not worth talking about because they're just a needle in a haystack. They're just not a lot of them. But we
Right.
talk about them as if they're everywhere, and they're not.
Right.
And they're not.
Yeah. I would agree. It's a waste of time to even have that conversation because what needle are we even moving when we have it? You know what I
Yes.
mean? Yeah. And it doesn't help. You know, the majority of the women out here who are nowhere near that or nowhere near even 60,000. You know what I mean?
No.
So, you know, I 100% agree with everything you said about having a realistic conversation that's not only realistic to have, but genuine in the intention. And a lot of times, you know, like you said, these women, if they encounter the men that they're saying they deserve or are entitled to or even want, it's not going to look like what they think it looks like.
Yeah.
It
It's
comes
gonna
with a
look
great deal of responsibility, a great deal of sacrifice, a great deal of boredom, a great deal of repetition. One thing about high earners, as you know, we're creatures of habit. We have structured systems in our lives set up.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that can get boring quickly. Everything
Mhm.
is calculated and measured for a very, very specific reason. And like you said, we appreciate the value of what it is that we have because we earned it. We got it out of the mud. You know what I mean? I have these pictures of these 911s on my thing, you know, but my daily driver is I call it the family war wagon. It's a
Mhm.
Kia Sedona minivan. You know what I mean? I just got it in 2020, but before that, it was a 2010 Kia Sorento. And I'm driving around in tattered jeans and old, you know, Nike cross trainers on and t-shirts, you know, dad t-shirts, going to Costco and Sam's Club. And no one would know that there's a $350,000 car in the garage, and
In
they're
the
not never going to know.
in the garage. And
Exactly.
I got my favorite car. I bought it 2 years ago, and I bought it brand new. In 2022. It's an Audi Q8 with a supercharger. It is.
Well done. I know
Let me tell
exactly
you
what you
something.
got.
I paid
Nice.
cash for that bitch because I
Yeah.
saved for it. I saved for it. I paid
Yeah.
cash for that mother. And Aaron, when I'm telling you that
Yeah.
the car is now 2 years old, that sucker still ain't even got 10,000 miles on it.
Yep. Yeah,
But
man. I know
they
it.
will never know unless
They'll never know it.
walk to the house, come to the home, and for some reason I keep my trash can in the garage. So through my kitchen, you can access my garage through the kitchen. You open the door to the garage to throw something away, and voila, this nice black shiny pearl, you know, $80,000
Yeah.
vehicle that's paid for.
Yep. Yep.
They would never know because what I just told you I drive every day, a 2008 Chevy
Avalanche.
Avalanche with
Right.
210,000 miles on it, and I've had that Joker since 2014.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's how long I've had it, and I drive that sucker everywhere. I'm thinking
Yep.
about driving it down to Houston for the meetup for this might be written because it's still raw.
Yep.
But they will never understand that. They would never understand that until when you come in my home. I don't know if this. I have a friend who says it's because you're a tourist. Tourist likes nice things. You know, I just think the things I don't spend a lot of money, but what I do spend it on, I spend it on quality.
That's
And
the key.
I spend it on quality. Everything that I have, even my YouTube studio that I turn my dining room to my YouTube studio, I think I spent just as much money in here as I did when I redid my kitchen.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just talking about a decent paint job. I'm talking about the lighting, the equipment, the setup. I mean, I don't show the full room, but there's like a whole nother section over here if I ever decided to grow where I could do in studio guests and stuff like that.
Yep.
But
Yep.
and everything I got is of quality when I decide. And a lot of these ladies who talk about they want Aaron, I have a quarterly budget, meaning that my financial life is planned out quarterly and annually. So I have an annual goal for like saving and investment, and then I have a quarterly, and that's what my daily life activity is. I know what I'm going to be doing and where I'm going to be going right now, all the way through the end of December. And there's a contingency plan in place in the event something happens.
You got to have a plan B. And a plan C on top of that. You know, just an oh shit, didn't see that like a COVID kind of a thing. What like what are we? What's going back to zero even kind of going to look like? You know what I mean?
Aaron,
know what I mean?
I know what I'm gonna. I know what will happen to me for a whole 18 months if both of my resources just magically disappear and I won't have to leave my home.
Hands tied behind your back. You could do 18 months without changing the picture.
Without changing it. Yep. I mean, I will. I mean, there'll be some things I will cut and get rid of, or whatever the case may be.
You got to trim the fat.
I won't leave my home.
Exactly.
I can still run up and down the highway at the rate that I do, which I don't do a lot of because I'm 60 hours on one job a week, and then I do 35 on my side hustle a week. So Precisely. I'm just saying, so not a lot will change financially in that situation. But a lot of women don't understand when you talk about these kind of guys with these earners, we become, most of us, I'm not talking about the exceptions, but the majority of us become ultra focused on protecting it and making sure that we don't squander it, especially when you come out of the dirt and come out of the mud. You know what I mean? And I tell people all the time, I'll share this with you. I'm 46 years old. Aaron, I met my dad when I was 31.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember we talked about that a while. Yeah.
31 years of no male coaching, no male nothing. But here's the thing about genetics, and I want to go too far off track because I actually do got to get going. Here's the thing about genetics. The environment in which I was raised, the children of that were produced out of that biological woman, they're all dumpster fires. But I was raised in the same home. My father, hard worker, calm, a planner, responsible. 31 years I wasn't around this man, and when I met this man, I'm just like him. I mean, there's some pitfalls because I was raised by a very emotionally erratic, sometimes irresponsible woman. So trust and believe. As the fact that I know that now, and I kind of understood that when right around the time I started turning 40. So I got to fight those inclinations, which is why I don't go on panels anymore. You know what I mean? Because there's a piece of me missing. But
and no one's perfect. You know what I mean? Not even your father. You know what I mean? But it, like you said, it's good that you know, that you're aware. You know what I mean? So that's
very much. And for me, the trip to the meetup in November, that's a treat for me. I don't do anything.
Are you going?
I'm going.
Bro, you know what?
My room is booked. My room is booked.
Oh, is it?
Look, I'm gonna cuss Hamp out. He suggested a hotel for me, man. He suggested a hotel that costs $618 a night. I want to kick his monkey ass. And then you know what gonna tell him? You got it. You got it. Nigga, I'm not gonna spend $2,000 on sleeping for 3 days.
I'm telling you.
But I'm staying at a nice place. But
yeah, I'm sure.
Not no $618 nice of a place.
Damn, I'm happy you're gonna be there. As a matter of fact, here I want to introduce you. I mean, you've seen Chuck C on the panel, but this is Mr. Chill Out. He's one of my business partners and best friends, and one of the hosts of this channel, The War Report. Chill Out. This is TJ. He has his own channel, Through the Fire podcast, and that's a rebrand, right? It wasn't. What was it before?
The Real Bravado Network.
That's RBN. There you go. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking about relationships. I had to get away from that shit, man, because it kills your spirit. Yeah. And I'm like, we got other crap besides, our other stuff to talk about. So right now I'm talking about other issues, like our how we make our political decisions. Like I got this coming up in a couple weeks. I'm gonna be talking about where did Black conservative come from, and conservatism come from, and how, and do we align with regular white conservatism?
Well, exactly.
I'm gonna be talking about that stuff along the way. And like this week, I'm doing a whole thing on policing based on the Sonia Macy incident. I'm gonna be doing a whole thing on policing, and not what people think either.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to get my team to looking at your show, Mr. Chill Out. So TJ here, we've been on panels before, he and I, since I first got into this, and he's been out in these streets for a minute, and I've always looked up to him, right? We've always seen eye to eye on a lot of things. He would definitely be in our crew, you know what I mean? Super successful, he's a man of his word, intelligent, integral man. I mean, he's a kindred spirit. You know what I mean? He's our type of guy for sure. I've always looked up to him. and enjoyed talking to him. So we definitely got to support his channel. And if you ever want to get back on the panel, TJ, you're always welcome here. Check out our library of work.
Hamp told me whenever I want, he said just text him, he'll drop me the link privately, you know what I mean? But I tell him all the time, I just don't have time.
I know.
For the derailments.
No, and we don't play that here.
Yeah,
we don't. If the conversation naturally drifts, that's fine, but it's all about the build here.
Yeah.
But we're not doing the derailments, we're not doing the disrespect, we're not doing the beefs, the child shit. We're not all that. No, this ain't the circus. This is a gentleman's club over here. We sit back, have a whiskey, and we talk as men do about real issues. So I'm going to let you actually get to know Mr. Chill Out. I'm going to drop my phone number in the back. Lock me in. You're more than welcome anytime. I think you have it, but if not, you can have it now.
Yeah, put it in the back chat real quick.
Yeah. As we go, how are you, TJ? Chuck C. What's going on, Iceman?
Chill Out. What's up, man?
What's going on? Pleasure to meet everyone. Yeah, we try to keep it real here, man. We trying to go somewhere and build with one another. We know it's some bullshit and individuals who want to get into that bullshit. That's not what we're trying to do. We know that this together, us black and brown people are kind of fucked up in the game, and we need to help each other out with wisdom and life experiences. I mean, and help each other grow from that. And I walked in on the conversation where you were saying, you didn't get to meet your dad until you were 31.
Yeah.
I mean, my mom left my dad when I was about 4, and then I saw him again when I was about 15, but that didn't get good until I was about 30 something also, because he was struggling throughout drug addiction and then finally found the church, and I guess that saved his life, and then he got it together. So I hear you, man. You resonate with me where you're talking about no guidance and still trying to figure it out.
Mr. Child, let me tell you something. Not only did I meet my dad at that time, but I met my grandfather, my father's father, who is this nigga is. This man is an old school. He was born in the 40s, raised. This dude don't play no games. I was over his home. This is about 3 months after I met him, and we were in the backyard, and I'm just helping my grandfather cut some grass and stuff. And so he's trying to lecture me on how to cut the grass.
I remember you saying that.
So me and him got into it, and my grandfather walks up to me and he says to me, I tell people this was the beginning of my awakening. I didn't take it that way at the time. It took me about another 2 years to understand that was the beginning of my awakening. My grandfather walks up to me, and I'm 5'11". I'm a little bit taller than everybody. My grandfather's a runt, but he walks up to me, looks up to me, he goes, and he sticks his finger in my face. He goes, "I can't deal with you. You sound like a woman."
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
If that man at that time, the way I was feeling, that young, that much bigger, that much testosterone, I wanted to cold cock him. But it took me another 2 years to understand what he was saying about how I interacted with him. But I only was interacting with him the way I was taught to interact. And that was through and the best decision I made, Mr. Chill Out, was when my father got in contact with me, the best decision I made was not to hold it against him that he was missing for 31 years. It was I forgave it in now you tell yourself what you're going to do. I forgave it in the moment, and I'm glad I did. Because what I got to learn, what I got to experience, and the relationship I got with my father would not be where it is now. It's almost as if I was raised up under him. Because in that moment, even though I'm a grown man and all the raising was really done, there was still a lot of learning that I could get. And there was other things that I got. The one thing that he taught me the fact that I was impatient. I didn't realize that. We talked about, he's the one that sat me down about finance, because right around 31, 32, I started making a little bit of money, and he saw how I was spending, what I was doing. He really talked to me about how I was interacting with I was way more brutal with women than I am now. You know what I mean? So a lot of things, and then I got to hear his stories about very specific incidences where he actually made multiple attempts to actually try to come get me because I was in a really bad situation growing up, and how my grandmother and other people stood in the way of doing that. And then then they at that point had to answer to me, because I was like, why would you keep me in a effed up situation when you knew I could go over there and be okay?
Right.
But so I tell a lot of guys too who have this trepidation or this anger with their fathers. I tell them to set it aside and listen. He could be completely full of garbage for all we know, but your father is worth an honest listen. He really is. You might learn something.
I had to expedite my time with him because he's no longer with us.
Oh,
So I had to, and he was young. He's early 60s when he passed, and I say it's just all his troubles caught up with him,
mm-hmm.
and he had given his life. He had changed his life around. He just became my best friend. I think we upgraded from father and son to really just being best friends. And man, I miss that fool right now, man, so much because I know that he still has so much wisdom to give me, and I try to take the little bit of time that we did have that was good and reminisce on those. And I sometimes find myself honestly asking him, what would he tell me right now? I mean, when I'm alone, I'm like, hey, bro, I need your help. Like, what would you tell me right now? What would you tell me to tell my son right now? I wish he was still around, but I understand exactly. I had to forgive him. I understood, to piggyback off of what you said, I understood he was just a man figuring it out just like me. And he was going to make his mistakes just like me. And no one was giving him a rule book just like me. So he was going to, go through his hard times and stripes and try to figure out what life was throwing at him. And I had to figure out what life was throwing at me. And then we end up getting back together. And we really had a good, strong relationship, I would say 10 years or so. Then he got really sick. He ended up getting diabetes, and then he ended up having hepatitis C. So he started getting these blood diseases, and then his body got swollen, and he passed on. And I was supposed to go see him like 2 days right before he passed. I was like, I'll go over there, and it just didn't happen. So, but I understand what you're saying, and that made me have a stronger relationship with my son, though. That made me raise him differently and started to understand the value of what a father brings to the table, and then not raising him. And his mom and I aren't together. That's a whole nother topic of story for another time, which we could get into another later date, because I have no problem being an open book on that scenario. But we weren't together, so I didn't want to raise him or be absent from his life and allow just her to influence the way he was going to respond to things, and then have to change his demeanor, how he was going to maneuver through this world, because he was going to have this anger or these things that his mom was going to teach him that I knew was not right for us as men to operate under. And now, I mean, he's on his way to. He started Temple. He's looking at business now. So he comes from. I mean, me and his mom, a family of some people who fucked up and failed and had to get it right, and who had some broken homes, and who just try to raise a better person. But the value of our parents is, I mean, paramount. We need to understand what they're trying to give us. And I mean, I look at when Aaron's dad speaks, man, I learned to shut up and listen. This dude's got a boatload of wisdom plus some. So I try to listen to the elders and those fathers who were still around. You know, if you got time on me, then I got time to shut up and listen, because you're going to teach me something that I think, even if I think I know it, you're going to teach me something I don't know.
Yeah, I'll always say I'm blessed, lucky, fortunate, and all those other good words to have my father. He's not only my father, but fathers to the fatherless. Just a successful man, got it out the mud, came up the right way, a product of the greatest generation, down to earth, has his flaws, is honest about them. Married to my mother to this day. By the way, shout out to the old guy. He just retired Friday. He's been retired, but semi-retired. He still worked because he's his work ethic, right? He's not going to sit down, especially if he's got, if he's got wind in his lungs, he's going to go earn something. Didn't have to, you know what I mean? Made a ton of money and retired my mother long ago. But he's officially retired. He gave up and he was just a code officer for the borough that he lives in. You know what I mean? Just a side hustle or whatever, just something to keep him busy. But that's just the kind of guy he is, and just imparts wisdom on anyone who's willing to listen. So I'm very lucky, and I don't take for granted for 1 minute the example. In fact, I'm kind of mad at him because he set the damn bar so high, and I'm chasing this ghost of a man that's inside of me, trying to be as good a man as he. I'm like, Dad, why'd you have to do this shit? You didn't make it easy, did you? So, but it is what it is. But yeah, he's definitely been a father to friends and other family members. So yeah, thanks, Mr. Chill Out, for recognizing the old man's contribution. He's definitely a dope cat. It's a shame that he'll never be on these panels. I wish he would hit the pan. I mean, y'all would love him.
Yeah,
but
I love him, man. It's Uncle Joe, respectfully. I do. I genuinely love him. And it's just the way he maneuvers and operates. I mean, he's just a respectable cat, and when he speaks, he's not wasting his breath. And if you have any common sense, you're going to hear what he says, and then you're going to take heed to those words. And even more now, like I said, me not having my dad, I'm definitely going to hear it 10 times harder. I wish I had 8 pairs of ears and 2 brains to just absorb all of that knowledge and keep it, and utilize it the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. All these little sayings and stuff that I live by, these little quotes, and people say, I get it from him. He just lived life the right way and earned it and learned it and is willing to pass it forward, pay it forward. He knows what a blessing is because he's had it and he blesses others with it. So.
I think the segue through it is like there's no fucking excuses, man. It's gonna be hard.
It really isn't.
And life is gonna throw you some curveballs and some ups and downs. We're gonna be emotionally tested in many different ways, but the only excuse is that you don't want to. And that's never good enough. That's never.
And that's not a good enough excuse.
That's not good enough.
That reason, right, TJ? I mean, that's not. Yeah, that's exactly right. You just didn't care to put any effort into it.
And let me tell y'all something. People think, some people think I'm so like cold blooded. I don't give a damn what your excuse is. Look, I tell people all the time. At some point, you become responsible for your own shit.
Your own shit.
Whatever the fuck happens, and I have very little sympathy for any dude, because a lot of us come from hard luck backgrounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I got thrown out of my. This is crazy. My grandmother raised me. She threw me out my junior year because I wouldn't wash dishes behind her son. And I had to go. And I was the first person in the family to ever graduate from high school, to go to college. I mean, I had a full academic ride.
I'll be right back. I'm in the bathroom. Y'all keep it going.
Yeah, no. I had a full academic ride. I had to go to college. I went to college. I was away at college for 2 years and didn't hear a peep out of my family. They didn't. I could have been on a slab in the morgue somewhere or in an unmarked grave. They wouldn't have known nothing. So I had to, I've screwed up my money. When I was in college, I've been homeless because I'd rather put a sound system and a whole book of CDs in my car rather than pay my rent. So when cats out here making excuses about why they ain't got this or ain't got that or how hard, I don't have no sympathy for that. Look, at one point, I remember quite a few, many years ago, I was like this big shot at the college, right? And they ended up laying off my entire department. I went from, at that point, was $80,000, or I would say 15 years ago, is like 150 today. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
right.
I went from like that high paying a job with that high title. I went from that to delivering parts for AutoZone for $6.50 an hour. I don't want to hear nothing. You know how humbling it is for a man who has 2 graduate degrees, got a couple titles and all this, that, and the third, to go to all of a sudden the next day he delivering parts from AutoZone. That's some humbling shit. But I still had, the money barely paid anything to do anything with. but I had to get out the house. I had to go do something. I had a wife at the time. I had to do something. And it was humbling. And I wasn't going to stay there. And I knew I wasn't going to stay there. I was there. I did it for, I think, 7.5 months. And then the next job I got wasn't back up the ladder. you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just it was like a $35,000 a year job, and I was there for about 4 years, and then a $50,000 a year job after that. It took me a while to get that. It took me a few years, but so I have no sympathy for people out here who are able-bodied and they just got excuses. I understand it's hard. It's hard, and some days sometimes those are some dark ass days.
Yeah,
I'm
real
talking
dark.
about it now like it's no big deal, like I don't understand the emotional and psychological toll it takes on you, but you got to have something in you to make you get up every day to go do that thing. As long as you get up every day and you walk out that door and you take another step, you'll get to where you got to get to. It is, and so I just don't feel sorry for anybody. I really don't.
That's where I created the clothing brand Hood Things from. To let you know, like, that's a whole positive movement. I come from nothing. I was emancipated at 15. My mom kicked me out the house. I couldn't even go get a college degree because they said I didn't have social services done to even get a college loan. So I was on my own from like 15, sleeping in my car. I mean, the streets found me as much as I found the streets. I had to turn all that around. Like, I get it, right? And then I found myself in the dark place. And Hood Things literally stands for honorably obedient, overcoming dominantly throughout hardship, importantly noticing God's strength. So I took coming from nothing and understanding what nothing is, and then just putting that message on clothing and pushing that and finding a positive way to go get it. Like, that's what that whole thing's about, man. It's a positive way to go get it. I respect the guy who sells water, hot dogs, ice cream in his truck, all that, whatever it takes to go do it and go get it. I respect those individuals, and then I respect those out there who have 6-7 figure paying jobs, who out there and had a good upbringing, and I hope they count their blessings and see what life has blessed them with, even if it's the most small, minute things.
Let me tell you what I did last week, Mr. Chilad. This is not a brag or flex. I mean, what you just said just triggers something because I forget when I do stuff for people, I forget. So I'm coming out of the grocery store, and there's like this 12-year-old young man sitting there with a coloring book, coloring pictures and selling those pictures out of the coloring book that he colored, selling them. He was selling them for like $3 a picture. You know what I mean? And I was just amazed. He out there sweating and stuff like that. He just amazed, just out there with color pencils and a coloring book, coloring real good. And then hey, could you buy this for $3? Can you buy this for $3? You know what I mean? Just trying to hustle. Man, I drove to the bank. I took out the max amount of money you could take out of the ATM, which mine is like $400. I went back and I bought one picture from him for $400 for a 12-year-old boy.
Blessings.
And I told him, keep up the hustle. I said, you might not see it, but there are people who watch you, and there are people who gonna bless you later on because they see you doing this. Keep up the hustle. It was a Spider-Man comic book. I got the picture. I framed it. It's in my sports room.
Man, shout out to TJ for paying it forward, man. That right there. That's what
forgot all about that. Something just triggered. I forgot all about that. Well,
and the fact that you forgot, that's major. And the fact that it's just such an automatic, you forgot about, like, that's the kind of mindset we need in the community more.
Because you did it from your heart. That's why.
What I'm saying.
You didn't do it from your mind. You did it from your heart. That was an emotional movement right there.
No, he was so impressive. So it was in a strip mall. I needed to buy some more shoes. So there's a place called the Shoe Carnival in that same strip mall. So I went back 2 hours later. That boy was still sitting out there. Now I gave I gave $400.
And you shut him down for the rest of the month, and he stayed there and put in the OT anyway. He didn't see me, but I saw him. You understand? And I felt a sense of pride, like that was my boy out there doing that. And I just chuckled to myself. I said,
that brother, I don't know his name. No, I got it written down on this thing. That brother gonna go somewhere. He gonna go somewhere. 12 years old and he got it in him like that.
That's that 6-figure mentality you were talking about at the top of the show. Remember how we said how you get it out and how you got to be willing to grind, and that's exactly it right there. That's it in the making.
He was sitting out there like I ain't gave him shit.
Wow.
I was just so I was just tickled by that. And I know people who probably would have been offended that he was still out there. You know what I mean? And people would be like, well, I gave him this. Why is he still? Oh, he greedy. No, he ain't greedy. It's an internal behavior that you want to facilitate, especially when it's a young brother who shares your reflection. You want to facilitate that. Okay, I got this pile, but I still need to grind and I still need to do this. God bless him. I didn't go back. I wanted to go back up to him, but I said I'm gonna leave him alone. And I went on, did my thing, and went on about my. And then, like I said, I forgot about it.
He said 5 o'clock. It didn't matter what happened in between that time. He already said 5 o'clock. It wasn't 5 o'clock yet. I'm still out here. Right? That was the mindset. I took that from learning, but God bless him at 12, man. It took me to my fucking mid-30s, almost 40 to get that type. Like, I manufactured my own clothes. I went and bought a sewing machine. I never sew a day in my life. I started to learn how to do the stencils and cut it all out. I mean, I'm probably far short of just making a pair of sweatpants myself. I get the stuff brought in, but after that, all the design is me. And my trade, Aaron, will tell you, is cooking, man. I've been behind the burners forever, and I went and invested in the sewing machine without even knowing how to thread or what a bobbin was or anything of that nature, and just went in on it and just started doing it. And man, as I go out there and people laugh at me, man, I go hustle to the hustles. I go right back to where I was, right back to those fools, right? And I'm out popping out of my car. They probably think I'm the police sometimes. Hey man, this what I'm moving. This what I do. And I try to speak to them young fools, man, them little 20-year-olds, like, hey man, you got a mindset. You just selling the wrong thing. Look what I'm doing. And just put it out there and put the good positive word that I'm from out here, man. I'm nobody different from y'all. I just learned some stuff throughout life. Maybe a little wisdom and this gray hair kicked in. And I seen these streets and what they've done to some of y'all young kids. And y'all have a good work ethic. You just applying it in the wrong area, and you can apply it to anything you want to apply it to if you just know better. The saying never became more true. If you knew better, you do better. And when that really hit me in life, man, that was the message forever, because I think a lot of them can do better. They just don't know better.
Yep. All right, Aaron, I gotta get up out of here because I gotta get to this white man job.
TJ, man, I love you, brother. Thank you so much for coming through. You don't know how much I appreciate it, man.
All right, Chuck. Sorry to get a chance to chop it up with you, Chuck, but I gotta roll though.
We'll catch up next time, man.
All right.
Take care. So shout out to Hood Things. I'm gonna paste the link in the chat to the Instagram. You can go find him there. Take a look at his work. Get to know Mr. Chill Out a little better. The link is there. Royal 5600 in the building. Hard as hell to find your channel. So it's The War Report, THEE, as if to say the one and only War Report, because we are, even though there are many, there can only be one. The rest are imposters. Chuck C, what's up, man? How you making out? What do you think of the conversation so far, man?
I'm doing all right. How you guys doing today?
We're doing well, man.
Very well, thank you.
That's good to hear. It just goes to what I think we issued before, is that life particularly has relationships and connections has so much value, but has no price tag.
Yeah.
You can't put a price tag on how a relationship is. And then when it comes to those connections itself, those connections help us get through those trials and tribulations of life.
Right.
So to you guys talking about your fathers itself, my father is a 70-year-old Vietnam vet. He's a disabled veteran now, but he's been like a great influence on how I've seen somebody try to do it on their own.
Yeah.
And he's tried to basically subvert a lot of his connections and communications, but they're still there. So even so that he doesn't have those interactions with them, he has sisters and other family members, and then they'll tell me about those connections to those people. Because the one thing I always tell you is that I'm always humbled about not always trying to big myself up for all the accomplishments I have,
Yeah.
based on the fact that when it comes to what my father's done, he basically said, if you're helping somebody, you're doing it because you want to, and not because you want it to be an admonishment of what you're doing.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so that's the one thing I hear when you guys talk about connections and the relationships itself. That's basically the most important thing in life, and a lot of people don't actually get to that because they're chasing the value of other things like the money or the things they can acquire or the look of the Joneses or whatnot. So that's why I picked up the conversation. And then the only other comment, that the reason why I labeled that question the way I did, Aaron, about what was it? Was it sophisticated fool, or what was it?
Oh, yeah. The ethical thief being
Ethical thief.
a fool to his. Yeah.
All right. So the reason why I said ethical thief is a fool to his progression is
Yeah.
because he's basically subverting his max ability of getting what he needs, because his ethics doesn't match his behavior of a thief. See, that's holding him back. If you're going to be a thief, go ahead and do that itself. And then on top of it, because you have no ethics, you shouldn't have any connection to others itself. But the whole thing about it, you're trying to be ethical so you have that connection, but then in your mind, you're still trying to grab what you want out of the progress, so that you're impeding your own progress in that statement.
Got you. Yeah. That's one thing I will say that runs rampant in our community is just a half-assedness, so to speak, or a unclear direction or reason as to why. There's no full committal. You know what I mean? And I think that definitely can impede progress. And it's unfortunate that a lot of times ethics can be the reason why we're in our own damn way, or not ethics, but morals anyway. Not morals can absolutely get in the way of ethics, because sometimes you question your moral. I mean, your ethics may drive you, and that may be sound, but once you feel as though your morals are in question, that begins to slow you down. And it's like, why embark on anything if you don't feel it to be moral in the beginning? And if you do feel it moral in the beginning, trust your gut and just go for the shit. That means something in the environment changed around you and is now putting your morals in question. I don't think, people allow their morals to question their ethics and reasons for doing things. I think something in the environment is making them question their morals. Because if it was against your morals, you wouldn't have started to do this shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're really principled, if it opposed your principles, you would have never set on this journey. But you set on this journey under your principles, so trust your principle that it is sound and resolute, and you continue. Pay no attention to the environment in which, because that's where the challenges come from anyway.
But that's the problem, Aaron. A lot of people go into a different environment and then say, well, I need to have different ethics and morals. And that's where we get caught up.
That's that half-ass shit. See? Exactly.
Right.
Yep. No, I agree. Yeah. So that was a great question. And I agree with you in the end. Yeah. And I think I still hold to my answer. If a thief is a thief because they're, morally led to it. And I gave an example. I don't know, I can call that a thief, but just a person that's in an unfortunate situation. But like you said, if you're going to commit to being a thief, dig in, son. Like, don't, you know what I mean? Like, don't half-ass it. Own it.
No, the thing is, Aaron, we have people that are thieves giving us ethical.
That's the problem. Well, see, they're not dug in. Right. Exactly. That's the issue. Exactly.
That's
Giving
why
us
I posed the
ethical
question. I
advice.
was like, number one, you're hindering your progress, but then on top of it, now you want to hinder other people's
Now
progress.
you want to hinder mine. Exactly. Thinking you doing the right thing. No, you got it right. I agree. No. Dig into it and own it all the way. If you're going to be a villain, you're a villain. You're not here to give advice. You're here to fuck shit up. And there's a place for that. That's sometimes is the iron that sharpens the iron. You know what I mean? But like you said, don't straddle any. What Mr. Miyagi say? Walk left side of the road, safe. Walk right side of the road, safe. Walk down middle of the road, squish.
Just like grape.
So
Don't play. I'm sorry.
But Aaron, I think our problem. Well, I think my problem. I wouldn't say our problem, but my problem is that sometimes I rather let people figure things out themselves than to give them the correction that they need.
Mm.
Because the whole thing about it is that I know that I'm no better than that other person, because I can fall to some type of ethical thievery down the line and I might not even see it because I'm too caught up in how I operate.
Yo, you gave us a whole show topic right there. Yo, Mr. Chill Out, you hear this, man?
I did. He made me think about my nephew right away, where I started off with failure with people when I'm always saying it, but I say my shit ain't always your shit, right? But yes, I agree that I like to help people, but I always like to be a realist about when I'm helping people. But you're absolutely right. Like I
So
should be
what?
letting a lot of people figure shit out. Because go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, but no, I'm just what I think you're probably headed right to it. But what is a man to do when you know you have the answer and they're not, you know what I mean? There's a time where people have to do it themselves, there's a time where you gotta help people. And there's also a time where you need to shut the fuck up. You might not have the answer thinking you do. That's a hell of a thing, man.
I think that's that lead the horse to water shit, right? And then once they get to the water, shut the fuck up. Like you I brought you as close as to what I can. Now I just gotta let you. And if you don't drink, that's up to you. If you do drink, that's up to you. If you find a better place for fucking water, that's great also. But I did what I could do. That's kind of like where I am now. Like, hey, I know where this path is. I can take you to the beginning of this path. But eventually that's your path. Right? I fucked up my way. You're gonna fuck up your way.
Your way, right.
You're gonna make your mistakes your way. But here's this path that I know that is not as fucked up as the path you're about to take. And then there's water at the end of this. I know that for sure. Now, what you do with all that is totally up to you. And I'm gonna let you figure that shit out.
What if you end up being wrong? Like we always have to leave room for that. Because as
I
a
start
righteous
off.
man, you have to know you're not perfect.
I start off with giving them a fucking machete. Hey, man, I might be wrong.
The caveat. Okay. You see, Chuck? The caveat. There it is. All right. The
I
caveat.
might be wrong on this, but from what I like to tell them is sometimes life has patterns, right? And you can see a pattern about to occur with the moves that you're making. Now, you might be a fucking genius, and this shit can go way right for you, and you might make the best moves of your life, or it could go left, and it could be way wrong. But here's this machete. Now I know there's water over there. Now, how you get to that water, you're not going to turn around and blame me. At least I gave you the
Right.
fucking machete.
Let
I
me
at least
arm
gave you. I'm going to start you off.
Quote me on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Do not put brass shoes on these steps over here, man. I stepped in a lot of shit in some clean shoes. Let's start off there. Now, what you do with your steps is what you do with your steps. But the way it's looking is like you about to step in some shit too. So here goes what you might need. Like you just said perfectly. Don't quote me on that. But this is what I think. And then you gotta do it yourself after that. And don't turn around if you fucked it up or messed it all up and made it just a bad situation. That wasn't me to blame. It was all up to you.
What do you think, Chuck? Is it that simple? Because now the question I'm asking myself is, what about the times where I should have said something and I didn't? Because I thought, like you're thinking, sometimes you got to get it on your own. You know what I mean? Like it's still the what ifs. What do you think, Chuck? Because that was a hell of a thing you brought up, man. We're gonna have to do a show on this alone.
Well, in my mind is if I'm dwelling over it, then it was bigger than what it was in the moment. Because so in the moment I might have looked at it as, oh, it's something they'll figure out itself. And then I come back to it and then I see them in the same place or in a worse position and I could have helped. For me, it's damn, I could have did something. But then the whole thing about it is that next time I see it, I'm going to do something. So even if I can't help that particular person out, if I always put myself in that situation again, I'm making sure that I make a change because I ruminated over it. If I'm not ruminating over it, then it's something that is going to the pasture.
I have a two-part thing for that. I like that because I thought it was me, but I'll call it sleep on it. If I sleep on it, then it definitely was bothersome. So then I need to do something about it. Second part is I like to help avoid a problem, not get a person out of them. So I'm always trying to drop a little hint without being intrusive. I think that's like the happy medium there. Where I don't want to tell you exactly what to do because it's not my place. You're a grown person, man or female alike, but I at least want to be like, hey, that kind of looks jacked up over there. Warning.
I hate coming up with solutions to problems that should have never existed to begin with.
I like avoiding them all together. So if I can help you try to avoid it, like, hey, the cliff is short here. Watch out.
But you guys know that's like human nature itself. Like we literally are
No,
dealing with other people's problems that they had no clue that it was going to be a problem down the line.
If I can
yeah,
see it, yeah, you're right. If I can see it, like, if I've seen it as, like I said, a pattern that is reoccurring. Hey, the water's over here, the cliff is over there. Left or right turn is all up to you. That's where I kind of like in the middle of that, right? Like whatever path you take, it's gonna be yours. Water, cliff, watch out. And the water could be running rapid, just to let you know when you get over there.
and here's the thing, and Mr. Chill Out, you can imagine him saying this, right? My dad used to say to me, "Damn, son, boy, watch where you going. Watch where you. How many times I gotta tell you, watch where you going? Well, shit, if you're not gonna watch where you're going, at least go where you watching." Doesn't that sound just like my father?
Yes,
But
absolutely.
I mean, but he's right. Watch where you're going, and if you're gonna fuck that up, at least go where you watching. But damn, yeah, coming up with shit for something that should never have existed. Yeah, but how do you impart that on somebody? You know what I mean? It's brutal, man.
Go over the cliff.
Well, that's what the whole purpose of the relationships and connections are. Where, as
There
you
you
guys
go.
said, you want to
That's
make
right.
sure that you're getting the best outcome itself. Use the relationships and outcomes of people that are successful, so you can duplicate that and then pass
That's
that
right.
information on to somebody else.
You ain't lying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I don't know, man. It's just wisdom is one of those things that, I mean, the best way to obtain it is through experience. That's what they say. But you also got to get it from the wise. And that's not from experience, but that's the wisest way to get it is to pay attention to the wise. And where'd they get it? From experience or from the wise? And what do you do with it when you, how do you pass it down without force? You can't force it, but you need them to get it. At least they do. You
I think
know?
when they hear you, and I'm just my son and my nephews, man, when they hear and they get one of those life epiphanies that I made sense, now they're thirsty for more,
There
right?
you go. Results.
But
Yeah.
right, even when I said, hey, I could be wrong, and they saw where things were getting shaky and they made a maneuver and was like, hey, I saw that pattern you just saw, I saw that. And I veered away from it. So what else do you see? Now they're kind of open. A lot of people make the mistake that they think wisdom comes with age, and that's not true. To be
No.
wise, you also have to hear the. See, you obtain wisdom by listening. You have to be wise to even listen to know that someone wise is speaking to you and giving you some wisdom. So you have to have definitely life experiences. You have to have hit the mud a couple of times face first, maybe a pile of poop too, right up the nose in life, right? Figuratively speaking.
Jesus. That's rough, but true.
Right. And now when you get up and you wiping it off your face, you go, how do I not do that again? Or what did I do to do this? Now you're questioning what your movement and your steps were. And when someone comes along and goes, you wasn't watching where you was going, or going where you was watching. You had you had your face in the clouds, and you
Yeah,
started, and now you was in a face full of poo.
right.
Now you start to listen, right? But if you go through life in this field of roses per se, you kind of think like I call it this this security that is not real. It's unrealistic security.
A false
You
sense of
think
security.
nothing's
Yeah.
going, yeah.
Mm.
What I told Jose was like unrealistic, right? Because
Yeah.
your false case, but
Delusional.
the way yes,
Delusion. Yeah.
yes,
Yep. There you
yeah.
go, Chuck. Yeah.
So it was like you think that these things nothing can touch you. Well, we know that is the furthest thing from the truth. And if you walk around life that way, my analogy was him when you're hunting, there's someone hunting you.
Yeah.
Correct.
There's always a predator for the predator. So don't get this, delusional security that you have. You have to be
Right.
aware. And when he started to notice that gave him an awakening to start to listen to my advice for him. And I always start off the same way. I might not be 100% right, man. I might be 100% fucking wrong, but I'm going to still give you these seeds per se. And then
Right.
what you do with these said seeds is totally up to you. But I have to give them to you. I feel more in the wrong per se, maybe bad term, but I feel more in the wrong if I don't give them to you. I'd rather you throw them away than me have them and never give them to you.
Well,
Correct.
keeping the seeds of wisdom to yourself is always a disservice to those you love or the community around you, right? Like that's kind of the purpose of wisdom is to pay it forward. How else do you think evolution is driven? You know what I mean? It's constantly getting better over time based on the lessons learned by the other guy. You know what I mean? The guy that did it before you, and then you learn your lessons and you give all that to the next guy. That's the passing of the baton. And the next guy don't have to worry about that shit, but he's going to discover his own shit and add it to the list. Add his chapter to the novel and pass it to the next guy. Right? That's the passing of the baton. But my thing is like, and you said it earlier. You said wisdom doesn't have to come with age, right? What's good? Salute you. Yeah, BJ, here, hit the link, man. Come on up. Yeah. So one thing I always say, intelligence, knowledge is simply retained information, right? Oh, Callie Bev, you bring your ass. What does she say? What y'all in here lying about? I stole that from Venus. It's funny. It's funny. Yeah, come on up, Callie. We up here chilling. It's me, chill out, and Chuck, passing time. But knowledge is just retained information, right? You're just storing facts on the hard drive, so to speak.
Right.
Intelligence is curiosity, the speed with which you can take on knowledge, the ability to process information and recognize patterns, right? That's to me what intelligence is. That's
Following you.
your random access memory and your processing. Wisdom is knowing what to do with both of those things and when, based
Right.
on whatever experience was had in gaining those two. So even though you might find out that there is a difference between mud and shit, and you told me about it, I don't need shit up my nose. You can tell me that as a 3-year-old, and I'm that much wiser for it. If I know, in fact, that I don't want to smell shit for the rest of my life.
But that's the whole thing.
Because I took on the knowledge and figured out shit stinks.
Right.
Wisdom. You don't need to be old for that.
But also, Aaron, that's the whole reason of goals itself. You had a goal to automatically say, hey, we need to separate the two because somebody doesn't understand the difference.
There you go. That's a word.
But
That's
that's why I tell you, Aaron, I'm starting to get circular myself because I'm starting to realize that was the reason why I said, what's our goal after marriage itself? We want to particularly get married, get people married, but then what is the goal? What are we all trying to figure out afterwards to make the community or the world better?
so, and I always enjoy your conversation and your perspective. I will say this: it challenges me, and that's difficult. Most folks don't. I figure shit out easy, and I see people. I got their number coming early, but you make me think, so I like that. And that's a great question to ask. I think that question starts to open up the possibility. Oh, PJ's on deck. Ladies and gentlemen, PJ Austin in the building. What's going on, man? Is this
What's
your
good? What's
first?
good? How we doing, gentlemen?
Doing
Salute.
well.
How are we? How are you? How are you?
Doing amazing. Can't complain.
Good, man. That's excellent. Blessed to have you here. Thanks for supporting the show. I was talking to Chuck C about, I guess now we've moved on to what the goal is in marriage. And I mean, that's a great question. And Chuck C asks it often. What's the goal with anything? Like, where are we headed? What's the purpose of this? And I think that brings in existentialism. And I think that causes an existential crisis in many. For me, marriage is a way to manage the corporation that is responsible for creating my own immortality. Meaning, I'm sending offspring into the future that's going to exist when I've perished, at least from this world. And I want that offspring to be prepared to be successful to do the same so that their offspring can be prepared to be successful to do the same. From that, I derive immortality. My name, hopefully, my message and wisdom can follow, but even if it doesn't, my DNA certainly will. So marriage is essentially the corporation that, manages that whole process. For me personally, other than that, I wouldn't give a fuck about any of this. I mean, what do y'all think?
Well, while living, right, I think the harmony of love and what that gives you by going through that process, right? That facing the poo thing. And then like how many women have we dated till you finally found the value in the woman that became your wife?
Yeah, I ain't got that many fingers and toes.
Right. So when you finally found the value, that became already the process of what you were trying to do as the goal. You were trying to find someone to live this earth with, to be in harmony with, because the human needs companionship. Now to teach that and go on to your children and in the community with those around us, right? Because where is chaos getting us right now? Where is death getting us right now? As a whole in the community, like we're not. I mean, it's sad to see these young boys killing one another over nothing, right?
Ain't that the
I don't,
truth?
I don't want to veer off subject. So it's about, to me, creating a harmonious situation of love and wisdom. And I put it to you like this: when you're in the factory, you got those who run the money and those who run the line, and none of those things will work without everyone being in harmony, right? Everyone has a position to play. But that's just how I view it, right? You have to be able to run the money and run the line to make the product move and to keep the products keep coming in the door to move them out the door. So that's like how I view it, as far as in a simple way with marriage, right? Like, as much as and even in marriage, and you and I know this because we talk all the time, right? I wash dishes and cook as much as my wife does, and if she needs help with the laundry, I help with that, right? And if we sit there, and if we're sitting down and we're talking about bills, then we're sitting down and we're talking about bills. And if I need to ask her for help, or she sees that I need some things that need to get done, she jumps right in on those things. So we're moving. She helps with the front office as much as I'm in the front office, and I help with the line as much as she's on the line.
Yeah.
And I think carrying that over into the real world and everyday life with these gentlemen and females that we meet on there is what I look at it as, outside of marriage and in marriage. That same type of attitude is, we all have a part to play and we all have different perspectives, and we can bring that together and then move that goal to moving in a harmonious love and wisdom thing. What I lack it, you can teach me, and vice versa.
So I think that's a perfect segue. PJ, were you there for you were there for the show today at Risky, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I was there for like a good amount of it.
A good report, yeah. So I think that's actually a perfect segue to go full circle back into what was being said over there. especially when it comes to the 50-50 conversation and the income conversation. And TJ at the top of this show brought up the perspective of the six-figure earner, but just the way we vet one another and the whole way the 50-50 thing is looked at. I personally was raised by parents who didn't look at it in 50-50, and my household isn't 50-50. It's 100-100. And what that looks like is exactly what Mr. Chillout outlined. And I can say from experience that his household, runs well as well. Both people are responsible for everything and all things, no matter what it is. And where one is strong and the other person is to assist, and where one is weak, the other person is to lead. PJ, what do you think is going on, in today's world as far as what people think that marriage structure is supposed to look like, specifically with income and household duties? Do you think it's like divided, or do you think we're like lost in the sauce? What do you got?
From what I see nowadays, it seems like most of us is just lost in the sauce, and we're focused on the wrong things. I think we're too focused on finding somebody to be with just because we're lonely or whatever, rather than finding somebody that we're compatible with and aligning with standards, values, principles that can build a foundation and lead a legacy for generations to come, like how you was talking about. I don't think most people are thinking like that nowadays. I think most people are thinking about the here and now of what makes me feel good right now in this moment.
Yeah, I would agree. And a lot of that would be wrapped up in materialism, right? And that's what I was saying on the show or on Hamp show earlier, that we're so, what was the word? Hypergamy was the word that they had broke down. I think it's hypermaterial. People are so wrapped up in what kind of lifestyle can I achieve for myself in the here and now? And are you fit to either sustain or improve upon that lifestyle? But there's no talk about how to build, and the word that you just used, PJ, I love, is legacy. And I think that's what Chuck and Mr. Chillout were wrapping up in their narrative, that legacy, paying it forward, passing wisdom on, passing on knowledge, passing on information, and the resources to be able to use those things is lost in the conversation. And it sounds like you agree. I agree. How do we get that back is my next question. Because it was there in the Black community and the brown community. If it wasn't, we wouldn't be where we are today. I was raised in a household, but how do we get that back?
I think it was. I'm gonna go in reverse real quick. I think it started with influence, with social media and all that, right? That's the start of where it fucked up. So I think we need to get right back to that, right? And reincorporating influence. Remember, I told you about my nephews and my son, right? They first had to see that I fucked up. They first had to see that I could say I was wrong. They could see I made mistakes. Then they started to see, right? Then they seen that I didn't give them, this is the way you must do it, the iron fist. They saw a pattern in life and then got thirsty and came back, right? I think that we, as men and women, want to rule our lives with an iron fist, and we leave no room for growth or movement. The my way or the highway standard, per se, is what's across the board, and then you're only seeing it the way you want to see it. Then you're influenced by these BBL fake money throwing on the ground individuals, and you feel that that's a standard in life now. And if you don't have X amount of zeros in your bank account, then you cannot be happy. But you don't even take the value in the smallest things, that a rose grows out of a bush with many roses with no money or BBL around it, and one of the most beautiful things on earth. To see a bird fly across the clear blue sky, you're losing what the value of life is due to the influence of this thing in your screen. Now we're trying to combat these things by saying, hey, smell these roses, but these roses no longer have the same influence that they once did anymore. So we have to rechange how we are influencing the people around us, our family, these young ones. If you come, and now even saying some of these young fellas, if they smell bullshit, they're calling bullshit. And if you can't be accountable for your flaws and where you failed at, how can you help lead and influence someone to be better if you can't even throw your shit on the ground and say, this is where I messed up and this is how I turned it around and this is where I'm still working at it at. And I'm still growing every day and I'm still trying to get better, because just like we said when we were talking about TJ and I about our dads, where we knew that they were just men who were trying to figure it out, and they fucked up in life, and then they came back and we now respected them even more because we knew that they went through some shit, some trials and tribulations, and they still pushed forward. Now that made their influence on us even stronger because they became vulnerable to life and now had a teaching point of influence.
So I think it's a brilliant response. I want to get PJ next, and then Chuck after PJ. Before we do, I don't think if you don't have money, how can you be happy? I mean, there's an answer to that question, but I don't think that's what's being said. I think what Mr. Chillout is saying, that we've put money in front of happiness, or money. We've allowed the trappings of what money can buy to cloud our sense of happiness, and I would agree that we can get to that.
To jump right in, watch Alaskan Frontier or one of those shows.
Well, right, that's what I'm saying. That's
when the folks is
yeah. No,
when folks is out there, and yes, they do things for money because money is a part of a tool that operates in this earth right now. Right? Yeah. Let's not be mistaken. But they're very happy without $1 million in their bank account. I trust and assure you. I watch the shows all the time. Right.
I think what it is, you're just addressing the hyperbole of money. We don't need. I mean, we need currency to sustain life. You know what I mean? We need to be able to exchange and barter, but we don't need to be billionaires, because there's billionaires going out the window because they're not
all
happy.
the time.
Yeah. So,
right. The self-deletion and seven figures, eight figures in their account. Right.
You can't
but I think that
with happiness.
Right. I don't think they should be on the same page or even in the same category. Not even in the same bowl at all.
They shouldn't. So PJ, what's your answer? How do we tighten this up? I mean, now that we know what's wrong, what's any ideas? Mr. Chillout has a brilliant idea of just kind of recentering or grounding ourselves back to what's important. But what do you got?
For me, I think we need to get back to what our true identity is. When I look at the influence of social media, like how Mr. Chillout was talking about, really it's getting rid of you. Because there's a list to be a high value man, there's a list to be a high value woman, there's a list to be this guy, that girl, and the third. But it's all based in things that are outside of yourself. You know what I mean? It's not based in things that build you up as a person. Like, ain't nobody talking about respect, honor, integrity, kindness, like being a good person on the inside, having discipline, commitment, because these intangible things are the things that leads to the tangible, but it's like they reverse it, where they want you to focus on the tangible in hopes that you get the intangibles.
Say that again. That was gold. Say that again.
Yeah, I forgot what I said. I'm sorry.
No, that was perfect. I'm glad I got to tell you. You said the intangible things are what leads to the tangible things.
Yes, sir.
And we've reversed them. That's where we're lost. We've lost touch of how important the intangibles are, because without the intangibles, you cannot achieve the fucking tangibles.
Yes, sir.
That's what I took from what you're saying. Is that what you intended to say?
Yes, sir. That's exactly what I believe.
That was brilliant. Yeah. Let's yeah, no, perfect. You got anything else, or is that you gonna drop the mic there and pass it to Chuck?
I'll go ahead and pass the mic.
Very wise.
Yeah, man.
Very wise.
Nicely done.
He said
Chuck, what you got, man? That was perfect.
Yeah, see, thanks, Aaron, for even reiterating. It was perfect. How am I supposed
I
to
know
follow
I
that up?
set you up, man. You got it. Look, you the man.
Yeah. You the man. All right. What I would say particularly is that we can't go backwards. I know that we always want to use the tenants as our baseline, and we always want to say, all right, if there's a problem, let's revert back to where a system where it wasn't malfunctioning, or wasn't where we could was where we could actually handle. But where sometimes when you go back to a system that is too far gone from where we at, we need to just basically reorganize the information that we currently have. So with our social media aspect of how we live lifestyle and how things are obtained, and basically these intangibles that we basically prop up as the most tangible thing for our lifestyles, we got to be able to incentivize the people to get back to our tenants and those tangible things, and basically turn down the fire on the intangibles. So that's what I've been trying to figure out myself, because it's hard as trying to say that, hey, you got a problem, fix it. Well, great. I understand that there's a problem, but there is no automatic fix with the information that we currently have. Because if I just make a decision and a move itself, I don't know the effects of that decision going forward. But on top of it, that decision that I make hopefully is based on some foundation that I currently had. And I think most of the time when we're making decisions and movements in this world now, they're not based off of anything from behind, and we don't care about what we're leaving forward. And we currently have that cycle of the problem that we always have. We turn from barbarianism to synergy to basically autocracy, and then we basically fall back down to barbarism, because we're in that cycle of, hey, we're going to do something, we build it, after we build it, we have energy synergy, we create these systems, and then this system fails again. So going forward, our problem, we know that it's convoluted, it's not getting to the goal that we're looking for. So what we have to do is have an incentive for them to get back on track to the foundation we laid.
Now, see, I think that's a perfect place to pick up where PJ left off, and I would 100% agree. In fact, I think what you said kind of fortifies what County Bev here put in the chat. You can obtain the tangibles, but you won't be able to sustain it nor be fulfilled. And I think what stood out to me in your last statement was turning down the wick on the tangibles, right? Align everything to where it's supposed to be, right? And take everything from the way it was done that worked without actually going backwards. We don't want to send ourselves back into the past. But the parts that we dropped off, the parts that worked that dropped off, we need to pick those up, carry them forward, and to prevent ourselves from dropping them again, turn the wick down on the things that caused us to drop them, and that's the tangibles. And that lends to what she's saying. You can obtain the tangibles, but you won't be able to sustain it, nor will they be fulfilled, which means we need to keep a tighter grip on the intangibles and not drop them again.
Right.
Because that's how we sustain the tangibles, and that's what makes the tangibles seem more fulfilling. And even if they aren't fulfilling, you can always rely on the intangibles to get you through, because they're the ones that got you to success in the first place. Is that kind of what I'm picking up from you, Chuck C, in a nutshell?
In a nutshell, definitely.
Yeah.
I also look at we have Western civilization values that are on one extreme, and Eastern civilization values that's on another extreme.
On another. Yeah.
And,
Mine that out. That's great.
and one thing that we realize on the Western side, as we see that our thing gets haywire out of order, we always try to see if there's Eastern values that we can bring over, so we can get back to the middle. And I think that's where we have the problem, because a lot of people are recalcitrant to change, and they don't want to be. They say, if we adopted these standards and they've worked for a certain period of time, why would we try to revert to somebody else's standards?
Now, wait, you used one of my favorite words, and I got to cut you off because I want to make sure the audience knows what you're saying, because it's so important, and I love that word. recalcitrant to change, disobedient or oppositional to or refusing to acquiesce to, disobedient but in a more extreme and resolute way, recalcitrant to change, total refusal at all costs to change, even to one's own detriment. That was a fucking word and a boy. But yeah, continue. I don't mean to cut you off, but that was a gem.
No. But that was just the main purpose, Aaron. It's just that we have sometimes, I think as children, we're malleable, right? Everybody doesn't, we can do whatever. We just listen and do stuff. The older we get set in our ways because we automatically say, hey, I have a value system that shouldn't be moved. I have to stay. The thing that people always say is that, oh, we don't like men that don't stand on their square. And I think standing on your square is good unless you're getting new information. When you get new information, you should be able to take that new information and process it and see if it actually changes your square. But a lot of people automatically state, hey, when you get a new information, no, you're still supposed to stand on your square. Well, then you're just being recalcitrant to change. You're going to be stuck in the same process that you've always been in because you have a heavy-handed that it has to be one set way.
I tell these young folks and old folks alike, my saying goes, evolve or become extinct. That's my mic drop.
Listen, I mean, eat or be eaten. You know what I mean? Yeah, evolve or become extinct. That's exactly right. And I think that's one of, to answer the question, what's the purpose, right? Chuck C, you answer that question, ask that question more than once, and I think it's a brilliant question. Because without knowing what you're going and what you're doing, you're not doing shit. To answer that, one of my life's goals is to evolve and help with the evolution process, which is to see whatever I evolve into and my offspring has the ability to evolve, but those around me, especially that I care about, can do the same. And then once again, outside of that, can do the same as a people. You know what I mean? As a household, then as a neighborhood, then as a community, then as a nation, and then as a people. To prevent us from going extinct and continuing to evolve. So I like where the conversation's taking us, and I think that's exactly the natural path. I think this is, I hope some of this gets taken to this might be risky. What do we got here, Daily? Agreed. Evolving to a degree, though. Well, so
Yeah,
I'm
no,
all
not evolving, not dissolving, right? Evolving into something better, not dissolving the things that are
we don't want
working.
to. We never want to devolve, and that's what Chuck C was saying. Don't go back.
Don't go back, and don't wash away the things that work either, right?
Right. Well,
carry that on.
Exactly.
Right? Now, evolve. You can strike two rocks together, or you can strike a match. You're still gonna get fired, right? And understanding when and how to use those, right? You won't strike a match when it's wet and the ground is wet. You won't, but you might need to go back to that rock thing, right?
So carrying we'll definitely do it. Yeah.
Right. So knowing when and how to use these things, but having the information of both of them or all three of them changes the evolution process. You're going to carry on what works. You might take all three and you'll use them as you need them. Don't dissolve the whole process of getting the fire, right? Don't do that, right? Now you're going way back, and you're going to die. That's the extinction part, right? Because you haven't brought that along with you.
Oh, I think now that you're talking, I think what he's saying, it all became full circle. He says, agreed, evolving to a degree, though. Like, let's not get ahead of ourselves, because what can happen is we will start to jettison prematurely things that brought us here, the components of success. Like, for example, the intangibles. We've evolved away from the damn intangibles.
I agree. I agree.
Of the tangibles.
Yeah.
So we got to
get ahead of
down
ourselves as humans.
Yes,
humans, we get ahead of ourselves.
exactly. We're rushing into being AI before it's really time to really be AI. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And we can't. Yeah, we got it one step at a time. We can't take quantum leaps prematurely because then
Correct.
Which is
what'll happen is that'll force you to go back because you will fuck it up
because you missed something,
because you missed something. Exactly.
and we're talking about 10 million pieces of information per second.
You can't
Now
miss anything.
trying to go back to find that puzzle piece.
The time
Oh,
alone, right? Yeah, right. Yeah.
yeah, you wish you hit your face on some shit. That'd be more simpler to understand. Mud and shit is different. Trying to find this puzzle piece of 10 million pieces of information per second. Where did I miss? What did I
Right.
miss?
This
Now
is
you
true.
have to. Oh my god, you have to comb through all that again.
This is
No,
true.
So that's why I think more so now, our generation and the generation behind us, the most important thing is to take the information and organize it in a way that it follows the tenets that was from the past.
That works. That fucking works. See,
yeah,
that's
yeah, but a
crazy.
lot of them, you're right. But a lot of them, you talking about a messy desktop. My analogies are all over the place, but you're talking about a messy desktop with 10,000 files, and now you got to categorize this. For us, I agree, very true, because we're the ones who handed down this messy desktop to the next generation. That's definitely our job. But to give it to them to do it, it's going to
Even
be a
even
shit
if we
show.
did give it to them, they wouldn't know how to organize it because remember we set it up.
Yeah, we said
That's the
that.
reason of the life cycle I always talk about, that we're left something that we didn't know how to attach to begin with, but now we're here to clean it up. Now
Right.
the mess. Now that we already know that we as people leave a mess itself, make sure you're cleaning up your mess so you're not leaving a mess for somebody else, and
Yep.
make sure that's the thing that we are cleaning up throughout history as we move forward. The
Yep.
problem is that we're not. We're having certain people automatically say, "Well, somebody's going to clean it up, so I'm just going to litter. Somebody else will handle it." And then we're automatically taking that into the next society, and they're saying, "Oh, this is what my ancestors did."
Yeah,
I
we
literally
can't leave a mess.
I literally heard, I'm not going to throw no one under the bus. I was out and about. And shout out to my wife. Today's her birthday, and I love y'all because I'm on the panel. Shout out to my baby. Literally heard someone say, "Don't worry about it and leave the mess for the next guy." And I looked over at this gentleman with the most disheartening look, like, is that the attitude we're having now? He's
That's
in work.
wild.
He's at work. He's at work. He's in his place of work, right? And I just look at him and I'm like, it broke my heart, really. Because I'm like, is this what we've been led to do? He said, don't, literally verbatim, don't worry about it and leave the mess for the next guy.
King Jurors says, I heard that saying before. And happy birthday to the missus from Cali Bev. Yeah.
Thank you,
Happy
Callie.
birthday,
Happy
sister
birthday.
Denise. We love you. Hope you're enjoying it. And thank you for lending us your husband to have this dope conversation. I hope she's watching or will watch in the future. Thanks for letting him get away. We'll release his ass at about 9 o'clock back to you. Or before if you say so. But we're grateful. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Chill Out, but that's what I was talking about earlier. So you have
I'm
information
sorry,
that
one second. Callie Bev,
okay.
oldest son turned 20 today too. Happy birthday to
Oh
Callie
yeah.
Happy
Bev.
birthday.
Happy
Happy
birthday to the
birthday.
young buck.
Yep. Thank you.
Virgo's in the house.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh boy.
Hey.
Yeah.
To let you know, Mr. Chill Out, I have a thing for Virgo women, and they always cause me problems.
Yeah, you and me both, bro.
Yeah. So,
She's been my best growth process, and I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it there. Maybe I'm not. Me and her were just having this conversation. It was saying, if you don't have heated conversations, not toxic arguments, your partner doesn't love you, right? Because they want the best from you. And when you sometimes don't see eye to eye, it's not because I hate you or disagree with you. I just want the better version of you. She's been my best growth process, man. I love her to the moon and back.
Yeah, congratulations, Chief. You're better than me to deal with it long term.
I'm a Libra. I'm a Libra, so I had to learn how to be a better me anyway, because I have to walk around and balance, not
Balance the scales,
selfish.
right?
Yeah, I'm a young Libra. Everything was fair when it was fair for me. An older Libra, we have to be fair, and I learned how to navigate better throughout our conversations. But yeah, man, she's amazing. Yeah, no, she's not saying we don't go through our challenges, because we all do, we all will, right? But the challenges that she's brought to me made me want to be better, and the type of person that she is, wanting the best out of me, and I want the best for her. And we go through our challenges because we view things differently, obviously, because we're two different people. But yeah, man, she's been great. I wouldn't ask for a better partner. I couldn't ask for a better partner, man. She's amazing.
See, I like the way you broke that down. It's just, I look at if we have disagreements, I rather just let's have the disagreement out and I'll let it boil up. I know when I was dealing with most of my Virgos itself, they'll say something, they might say something slick or what have you, but the slickness will build up, and now it's 3 different arguments we're having about something that we could have nipped in the butt, like each one, instead of, letting the buildup happen.
Oh no, listen, she's your typical Virgo. Let's not run over that, right?
Okay.
But now me being me, and how I understand things now, I'm okay with digging deeper without hurting her feelings, because I'm slick mouth too. I'm a Libra, an old rapper. Like I know I can play with these words, but we're not gonna do that, right? Because we're not gonna go nowhere. You're gonna just start saying more slick stuff, and we'll just have this circular argument going nowhere, right? So now it's like, where are you trying to go with this? And what's the emotion? And shout me and Aaron, we talk it out, and we, like we said, this is how we started this. We practice these things in real life. So it's like, where are you trying to go with this? How are we trying to go? What did you say that for? Was that just you being slick, or was you really trying to go in the direction where it was going to be helpful? Is that helpful? And I have a good way of walking her off her slick ledge, and then getting down to where we trying to get to. Or was she just trying to be slick? Okay, then we try to be slick, so let's say some slick stuff, and I'll turn it into a joking thing, because I'm not going to shoot fire with fire, but I know how to maneuver. Like I said, man, she's the best thing to have, because she taught me how to maneuver better, maybe more dangerous. If she listens, hey babe, I love you. But yeah, for sure.
The art of whispering to her. I hear you.
Yes. Great words. Yes, very well put. The art of whispering, for sure. Because as you know, these Virgos, if you get louder, they get louder. If you get slicker, they get slicker.
Right.
Yeah, you'll find yourself fighting a volcano for what? I'm not fighting that. That's not even worth it.
So to your point where you was talking about the guy that was saying that he's leaving it behind for somebody else, that's what I was talking about earlier with Aaron about. Excuse me. What I was talking about, where do we actually say, hey, I gotta let that person grow? Hey man, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to take care of your own stuff so we don't have that problem. Or do I, knowing better, it's like, nah, he'll figure it out. He's man enough to understand and learn that that's not how we're supposed to process. You might told your son that for that time period and pass that information on, but hopefully you get better and say, we're not supposed to do that. We're clean up after ourselves.
As you were speaking, this analogy popped into my brain as a pomegranate seed, an orange seed, and an apple seed, right? And you put them in the palm of their hand, and you explain what all 3 are in that simple form, and then you close their hand. And you let them decide what they're going to do with it. I'm simplifying it, but that's how I feel. You put you give them the seeds to grow. That's all you can do. This is me speaking from the heart, genuinely. I can't make you grow these seeds. I can't eat from the fruit of these seeds, but here they are. Ultimately, any decision you make with these seeds, man, you can throw them in the river and never grow. You can take one and eat for the rest of your life off of this fruitful tree. You can put them in your pocket and never see them again. It's ultimately up to you. But my job is to give you these seeds, explain this is an apple, this is an orange seed, this is a pomegranate seed. Each one of these will grow a different fruit. And how you view that is going to be how you maneuver in life. And then you take them with you.
All
I
right.
can't make you choose these things. Now I know that at sometimes we want instant results, or lack of a better term, gratification from the information that we give people. But throughout growth, even having my son and seeing him, because I mean he's 18 now, right? Me and Aaron was just talking about this, man. He's old enough to go to the military and pick up a gun and kill or be killed, per se, right? So I have to understand that his decisions are his decisions. Do I want to tell him, hey, don't do this shit, go do this way, this is the thing that I'm telling you you're gonna have to? I want to, for sure. I want to, because I want to protect him. But I had to just take that analogy and say, here, son, and then the next move is yours. And if you mess up, and this is more personal. I know this is a lot different than people we don't know. This is more intimate. It's my son, right? I'm here to help you pick up your pieces. I'm here to, help you throughout whatever you need. You always can turn back to me. Now, someone on the street, you're giving them the same information, but then you have to just like, hey, man, it's up to you. Whatever you want to do, you're gonna do. However you want to maneuver in life, you're gonna maneuver in life. I can't make you do these things. If your moral compass lines up with my moral compass, then you're gonna take heed to what I say. And if it doesn't, if you're a thief, you're gonna go be a thief. I'm not a thief. I can't tell you how to be a thief. I can tell you how to be a hustler out the mud and turn anything into everything and monetize whatever you want to. That's what I did. I did it with food. I did it with water. I'm doing it with clothes now. I can tell you how to hustle. I can tell you how to go get it. I can't tell you how to be a thief. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. So if you want my advice on this, and this is how I try to be as openly as I can and be as vulnerable to me as I can. Because if I'm not true to myself, then who am I being truthful towards? I got to look at me in the mirror. I went through a lot of shit in life. And this one thing I took off these glasses and I looked me in the eye, pupil to pupil, me to me, man to man to me, and said, who do you want to be? And I think until men and women alike take that hard look in the mirror, we're going to be going in a lot of circular conversations into places, because it's going to be, who do you want to be and how do you want to operate? I can give you all the tools. I can give you the updated information. I can download the newest software. But if you don't want to accept it and take it with you, then of course it's null and void. It goes nowhere. It's as empty as a strainer.
Can you see this question? I think King Jers is an excellent question. Kind of in the trajectory you and Chuck are going. Chuck, can you read this? I know your camera isn't on. If you can, I'll read it to you.
Do you think our community is impatient? Do we look for a quick result instead of a long game result?
Okay, well, there you have it. What do you guys want to do with that? I'm loving this though. I'm sitting back and listening.
Yes, we look for a quick result, because that's, unfortunately, that's what our evolution or lack of thereof has created us to be.
Impressive Vibe would agree. She says yes as well. I would agree. Chuck, what say you?
I
Quincy
think
Pearson also says most def, but yeah, you got it, Chuck. My bad.
no, it's cool. I think we're the first portion of that is that we're impatient because I think we're individualized. It's the reason why we look at it as like, oh, I need to get what we need to be at, instead of we are trying to work on this said goal. And then through that, I think what's the second part of the question, Aaron? Do we look for quick results instead of long game results? We don't have the goal, so we don't even know what the long game result is. And then on top of it, the quick result is the only thing that we try to achieve because, like I said, we're splintered.
Whoa, okay. Because we're splintered, the quick result. Right. Because we're splintered, our trust isn't, the quick result is more, gives us a greater sense of security.
Correct. Because it's a result.
Here and now, quick, fast. You don't have to worry. You don't have to sleep on it. Because we're splintered, I don't need to worry about somebody having my back tonight as long as I can eat right now.
Right. It's basically our currency going forward, because the result itself is what people are going to try to lean on to actually get to that ultimate long-term goal. So now that you have the results, now instead of being a person that's just a voice, you are one of the head voices because you have the resources people need to access to get to that long-term goal.
Heavy. Yo, okay. I'm like, yeah, all right.
I'm thinking how many fast food restaurants are popping up, right? Because, or these hot chickens. I see more hot chickens in Philly now than probably there is in Mississippi, right? And how many people could just go online, use the same shit you use for entertainment to learn something, and go get a recipe for hot chicken that'll probably be 10 times more juicy, healthier, and better made at home. But they're too lazy to do the work, so they'd rather get the instant gratification to pull up in the drive-through, order that thing, sit it on their lap, eat it in the car. Some people can't even wait to get home, right? Or take it home and eat it instead of doing the work themselves. The analogy being the same. If you just put in the work yourself, and to piggyback off of what Chuck C said was, they know, some people know the goal and don't have a plan to get to the goal. I hear that all the time.
Right.
You know, when I ask somebody what they want to do in school, oh, I want to be so and so. Well, what's your plan? What's your 3-year plan? What's your 5-year plan? What's your 6-year plan? As you guys were saying earlier, what's the A, B, and C if shit goes left or right? Right? Do you have a backup plan to your backup plan? All you have is this one goal. How about if that shit goes out the window and fails? What else are you going to do?
Oh,
do you
yeah.
have anything else?
Yeah.
Right? What else are you going to do? So I think that goes even in the community and society. How about you meet this one person who goes, man, fuck all y'all kindness and y'all showing love. And he's just rebellious about all this, soft niggas finish last and all that other goofy shit, right? That stupid motherfuckers want to say out their face because they really don't see the goal of, hey, you're a part of the destroying of this community, right? You got no job, 5 kids, 6 baby mamas, like you tripping out here, and all your kids is running the streets now. Well, none of them have any good education. You don't even influence them in any positive way. And it doesn't matter if you make 6 figures or you a high school dropout. What are you bringing to the table to change what you're doing to these kids?
Oh, wow. Okay. See, now let's go down that road. See, y'all kill. So I'm just directing traffic, but chill out, Chuck C and the chat, right? All 12, 13, 14 of y'all are killing it. So go down that road when you said that, the whole nice guys finish last and everything, and because I think that goes back to the intangibles conversation that PJ put up. Chacho, what's up, man? We here. Yeah, hit the link, man. I'm about to post it right now. You're more than welcome to hop up here. This is a dope build session. My guest Charles C, he's a regular around these parts. My co-host, business partner, and lifelong friend, Mr. Chill Out. And the chat full of supporters. Everybody's killing the game right now. Lots of gems are being dropped all over the floor. You would think it's a jeweler that had a grenade put in it. But no, go down that road, man, because I think the intangibles, right? That's where kind of like the nice guy, the guy with integrity, the guy that is a man of his word. He's dedicated. He's loyal. He actually gives a shit. He's emotionally intelligent, right? The salt of the earth type of guys. they don't finish first. That's what people say. But that's exactly where the intangibles lie. So how do we bring that back? You know what I mean? Like, what does that mean in the conversation? You guys take it from there.
Chuck, see, you and me, we it's a
Uh,
win-win.
2 C's, you can't go wrong.
Hey.
Word up.
Go ahead, you got it, Mr. Shell. I'll piggyback off of you.
Well, I was going to take it back to where you were saying we became individualized, right? Where they broke us apart,
Yeah.
as per household,
Yeah.
right? I got to worry about me and mine, and only me and mine, right? What happened to you? I'm gonna tell you how I met my neighbor was shoveling his payment, and he came out and said, "Hey, man, I want to thank you. I appreciate you." I said, "Man, it's just a neighborly thing to do." I think he was blown away. The boy went to Mexico. He was blown away, and I was just like, listen, when I see the trash, I take your trash out to the front. If I see you shoveling, so now it was like a good couple of years where it was like a friendly who can out neighbor one another, right? If I shoveled, he was throwing salt. If he shoveled, I was throwing salt, right? It became a positive, infectious attitude between one another. And I don't believe that the good guy finished last. I just feel like the good guy is not punching these dudes in the mouth anymore, right? Like, back up, pussy, because you really, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm on a flare cursing too, but it's like, back up, because you think that I'm some sucker because I'm taking care of my family and I'm minding my business, but we all know the biggest bitch got the biggest mouth. You over here riff-raffing, yelling and screaming for no reason, because as soon as you get punched in the mid, you're gonna calm that goofy shit down. And it probably take about 4 of y'all to take on one of me. So y'all really need to relax, right? But I'm worried about mine, I'm worried about my woman, I'm worried about my children, I'm worried about my household, and I really ain't trying to get into riff-raff with you. So you got the time. You got the time for the bullshit, because that's your life. Your life is full of bullshit. That's what you wake up and do every day. Nothing and bullshit. So now you want to find and look for a motherfucker with his nose down and his elbows to the wheel, doing what he got to do, minding his business, and going fucking with him until he punch you in the face. But it's all because we've been separated. It's that whole divide and conquer, and we adapted to it. Instead of being rebellious for it, we started to adapt to it, and instead of combating that shit.
Because we took that and said, hey, this is your champion. We take every one person out of any type of industry and tote them up and say, this is the guy that you want to be. And then that individual says, well, if it's just one guy I got to be. And he basically totes his stuff as, oh, I got here because of X, Y, and Z accomplishments. Now you're just looking to accomplish things instead of saying, hey, me, Harry, and Jim did all these things, and I was just the lead forefront, and this is the reason why I accomplished these things. If it wasn't for Harry and Jim or what have you, we never got here. See, we don't promote the community aspect of success. We basically import the achievements as individuals.
When piggybacking off of you, whenever you see, like, even these movies, right? When you see the smart guy get the idea, it's the bitch motherfucker who steals the idea, runs to the boss. Hey, look what I thought of. We know he the biggest bitch, but he wanted to go get the glory first. Piggybacking off of that, when you see Jay-Z and Beyonce, because a lot of people like to idolize this couple, do you think that they running around doing the goofy shit that you be seeing on this Instagram? Hell no. And she's bigging him up, and he bigging her up. Why is this chick now selling whiskey? You know she don't drink no whiskey, her mimosas drinking ass. But he saw an opportunity for her that she can sell. What are you gonna say? No? Or you gonna say we're gonna get this bank and we're gonna bring it up together? Right? And do you think she know how to fucking distill anything? She don't know how to distill her own hair. Get the fuck out of here. She getting that shit put in. So she got a whole team of distillers and whiskeys and master brewers over here doing this shit. We could be doing that shit ourselves if we just put down our fucking nut ass egos and help each other work with one another and come together. Like, just put your ego aside. There's no growth in ego. It's only death. If you ever look at it across the board, back to the fucking Wing Chun times of golden era, when there was crazy war and people were dying and famine, it was ego. Guess what the king said? Hey, my kingdom will live, but not my people. Because he had ego. He didn't even know. But if he put his brain and probably contacted that other king and was like, hey, I got grain, you got water. You think we can meet in the middle and have this shit grow? We could probably do 30, 40, 50 acres of grain and corn. Probably last us through the summer into the winter till we figure this shit out. Nah, I'm going to worry about mine, and I'm going to die with this grain. And you're not going to handle grain, but have a shitload of water. It don't make no sense. And it's that divide and conquer shit that we felt was adaptable to bring a part of the evolution of mankind, which was way off.
Well, that's the whole thing about the cycles itself of the life cycles. We always revert back to being a barbarian. And by being a barbarian, we automatically say, hey, at the end of the day, what can I take from the next person? And then after we take that from the next person, then we want to be aristocrats and say, this is how we delve it out and this is how we all can survive together. Now, because we have the control. Power is our biggest problem as human beings. We don't know how to use it. We don't know how to allocate it properly. And then on top of it, when we get in certain situations, we really don't know the right amount of force. We just take those tenets that we had prior to say, oh, it worked. So since it worked, we're going to go forward and try to do a new remix of that.
Well, power is only effective against those that don't know its weakness, right? If you know the weakness to that per se power, then that thing has no power, right? So it's only those using it on those who don't have the knowledge, to understand that this power is not really power. It's as much as a weakness as anything. You say the barbarians, what do they ever? You take, but you don't know how to reproduce what you have taken.
Funny
you can't redo it.
Funny you say that, and I'm gonna give it right back. But that's exactly what I lean on when I hear brothers complaining about women, and I'm like, well, nigga, you need to exercise some dick discipline. And well, you know what I mean? Like, you take away the power of something by exploiting its very weakness. And I mean, Mr. Chill Out, you know, we go back forever. You remember when we were the kings of Rittenhouse? You know what I mean? Like when we were, you know what I mean? So, and like, I didn't have an issue with telling women no.
How upset do they get?
Oh, who's fucking wrong?
Boom!
Are you crazy?
Boom!
Wild.
Boom! I threw myself at you, and you sent that shit back like a Venus Serena serve. And hell no, that wasn't supposed to happen.
But yeah, no, I'm just saying what you just said. That was, we saw that's how we got. It got to the point where we could afford to shut all y'all down because we had so much chasing us from the. I mean, you know what I mean. So anyway, but
you
that's
can go. You can go home. You can go home. It's okay. I'm not worried about it.
I'm good. Let's take it slow. I'm not interested in rushing. You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing. You take away the power of something because you understand its weakness. I understand the power you have in what's between your legs because your weakness is attention.
Listen,
and if I snatch the attention away, you're powerless.
A chick told me, said, you're going to miss out on a lot of pussy because you talk the truth. And I told her, all pussy ain't good pussy. And she was mad.
Very mad.
Well. That's fine. Because guess what? I saved both of us a headache. You and me and me. Right? It's understand. Like, you're right. I'm piggyback off your penis discipline. Right? Like, we sitting over here drooling at the mouths with no discipline at anything. It doesn't even have to be women. It's anything. We just want that instant gratification. It makes me feel good right now. But it isn't good for you in the long haul. And that's what we're showing these young fellas and these young men. Like, I'm telling you, Aaron, you already know. This for the chat. Chat. I'm Badlands of Philly, man. I'm from the middle of the dirt, right? And I see these kids, man, it breaks my heart. I mean, I feel very lucky that I'm in my early 40s and came out of where I came out of. But I'm seeing kids, man, 15, 14, 13, dying in these streets. They didn't even live a half a piece of life because they don't even know. They thought they was growing when they got their first piece of trim and never even left the fucking boundaries of the city to learn anything, and they're gone off this earth for no reason at all. For none. And they have no understanding about how to be better. All they know is to survive, chicken wings from the chinos and things of that nature. They've never tasted a gourmet meal, never experienced going on a trip on a plane. And this is simple, y'all. This is the simple things of life, right? Even if it is going down to as far as Miami, Florida, they some of them never even seen Atlantic City in Jersey. And we're letting them run rapid. Like, this can't be the future. This cannot. This can't be our future of our young men and women. That's what really. And my son's in the midst of, man, I'll tell you, he's 18, y'all. Chat. He's 18. He's in the midst of what we talking about. And man, am I trying to be just a parent and give him good information.
But wait, I gotta big you and Zay up. Your son, I mean the man that Chill Out is producing is the quintessential him, right? He's headed to Temple University. I mean, everybody knows Temple's a great school. It's here in North Philadelphia. He's
Oh, he
studying
chose
business.
that. He chose
Yeah,
that. He was accepted like, hey, he chose
No, he
Temple.
had choices. He had acceptance. I mean, how many acceptance letters did he have? 9, a dozen, some shit?
8 to 9, something like that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, he could have gone to other schools. This is what he chose. I mean, proximity has something to do with it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in the northern suburb. Will's in the northern, Chill Out's in the northern suburb. And the family's from northern Philadelphia. But it's a great school. He chose a great career path, a great degree program. He's not wrapped up in any bullshit. You know what I mean? He has no kids. We're talking about this 18-year-old. You know what I mean? He's doing it the right way. It's his own car. Just got his insurance license. He's already working a fallback plan, a plan B, a plan C, something that he can do in his spare time offline to make money while he's building himself to be great. He already
was
has
in Puerto Rico.
Huh?
You're talking about traveling the earth. He was in Canada, Puerto Rico. He went to us with Virginia.
All the last 9 months.
No, the summer. During the summer.
Yeah.
During the summer. This is
exactly. Went to Canada, and who did he help move? He went to one of these countries.
His sister.
See what I mean? So, like, the boy is really, I mean, and he's a tall, athletic, excellent look. I mean, he's a handsome father, but great looking kid, nice guy, well spoken. We go down, the family has a summer home down here in Cape May, which is kind of like the Martha's Vineyard of New Jersey, right? And we're right on the beach and everything, multi-million-dollar. Anyway, every year we do this Father's Day get together, right? Me, Chill Out, my dad, Maverick, his son, my boys, and we go down, cousins, and we go down and chill. We go cook, throw some salmon on the grill, go get a bunch of wine and whiskey. We sit on the beach, watch the sunset, and I mean, just have an excellent time. And the boy is so much culture. He's exposed to so much. I mean, he's gonna be. You ladies, I'm telling you. You think you watch, you wait and see. You think you have what it takes. Okay.
Yeah, we making a monster over here in a good way, and he's gonna have his ish together, and he's gonna have these moral compasses in place. And like he keeps saying, he wants to learn some of these. He's a new kid, and he wants to learn Renaissance things.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I just hope, like I was saying, because you don't know what sticks, but you just give him information and what obtains and what his interests grow in. And he's expressed this to me, like, I want to go camping, I want to start a fire, I want to, I want to have these things. And I keep it simple, but he wants to do these Renaissance things in a way because he knows that they help the etiquette of being a man in his eyes, of what a man should have under his belt. Not only the finances and the education, but how to have provision and multiple skills under his belt.
Well, listen, 1 week, because we're going to start the car channel, right? Because so real quick, just a quick promo. Anybody that doesn't know, tomorrow, tune in sometime around dinner time. We're going to do In the Kitchen, which is here on the War Report. We were supposed to do it last week. We couldn't. We got spread to the 4 winds. But this weekend, we'll definitely do it. And look in the playlist. You'll see the first time we did it. We're making improvements in the production. But every Wednesday, we do In the Kitchen with the War Report, where we do a cooking show. And another show we're going to add is In the Garage. And it pretty much, how to work on a vehicle, anywhere from changing a tire, changing oil, how to select a vehicle, how to drive a manual transmission, race car techniques, motorcycle, all from the world of motoring, from getting your driver's license all the way up to being a race car driver and everything in between. Because, I mean, we live these results, and it's time to share it with the world, this knowledge and experience. But what I'm saying, Chill Out, is maybe we should bring him on board, and maybe his growth in that can be the very classroom we use to film those sessions. You know what I mean? Like you, me, Maverick, my pop, when we're doing these shows and we're teaching these things, he can be the student and we just film it.
He would probably be head over heels for something, because he's been chomping at the bit, and it's just been, schedules, man, schedules
It's
get
rough.
crazy, and we try to line it up. Trust me, y'all, it's hard having 3 individuals line this up with 3 different schedules
And we
all
have
the
our own
time.
lives. We're successful in our own right. So, some have families and some don't, but success is not easy. But yeah, trying to get everybody together at one spot to put on a show is a bitch. But I think it would be worth it to bring him in. That way he
Yes,
can catch up on those skills and we can bring the audience in.
I think that his young face will show that we are good teachers to a young audience, because
And we
this
can
is not.
bring the younger, a lure for the younger crowd, 100%. King George says, that's dope. Salute, Mr. Chill Out. No, this is my guy, man. There's nothing but greatness on this channel, man. In the chat, on
Thank
the
you.
panel, and in real life, nothing but greatness.
Thank you. We've been
Appreciate
through,
that.
like, yeah, but very much appreciated. Like, we've been through shit, man. I'm not speaking from a place of, like, just guessing. I've been through
No.
the mud, through the fire. I got my scars and burns in life, and I just, like I said, man, when I say look in the mirror, I did that first. Before I
Yeah.
tell anyone to take accountability for anything, I did mine first. I had to. We can get into the chill out interview, and we can talk about that also, but we will eventually. But I've been through some things that when I'm speaking from some heartache and experience, and I still try to maintain my. I always say try, and I know that people say don't, but I try, because I'm not going to be perfect, to maintain my integrity and being a good man and a good father and a good person throughout whatever life has thrown me in the shit hands I have been dealt. I fight through those, and I keep my moral compass intact, and I try to be a stand-up man on my word. And life happens, but I try to hold true to whatever I say and do. It's not I talk one way and live another way. I can't do that. I can't be the only person I'll be lying to, chat, is myself, not y'all. And that's a fact. I'll only be lying to myself, because when
Well
this
said.
camera goes off, I still got to take accountability. When I'm telling you that me and my wife still bicker and get through some heated arguments, we do that because we're trying to see each other be better. We're trying to change from where we were and become better people to where we going. She wants the best out of me, and I want the best out of her. And sometimes that comes into as a place of conflict, because sometimes we're not seeing the vision for one another or the greatness or the potential that the other person has. But we know that we're doing it out of love. So I just speak to a place of, I got to check me first before I say anything to anybody about anything in life.
What you got, Chuck? You going to say something?
No, spot on. I was just gonna say, I got 2 pieces of information at an early age that I still carry with me to this day. You learn something new every day. You'll never be without. And the other thing, everything that you do is who you are. So those things align exactly with what you said, Mr. Cello, and I appreciate hearing that, about the continuous growth between you and your relationship with your wife. And then on top of it, you're understanding that, hey, I won't give out any information that I haven't been through the trial and tribulations myself. I live by that myself, so I understand it wholeheartedly.
Damn right, gentlemen. I mean, here on the East Coast, it's 27 minutes, 28 minutes after the 8 o'clock hour. I know DJ Hamp is starting up the women's POV at 9 Eastern Standard Time, 8 Central. I'm really digging the vibe that you guys are on, and I think this is a perfect time to close. Get everybody a chance to maybe go grab a snack, use a bathroom, maybe kiss a loved one goodnight or whatever, kind of reset before reconvening over it. This might be risky. But I'm really, really, really digging the vibe that we're on, and I think we should just close here. I'm gonna try and play like a nice, uplifting, motivating video or something I have in the back. But do you guys want to leave us with any final thoughts, parting thoughts? Empress Vibe says, "Great conversation, Big Aaron. Yeah, we on fire tonight, baby girl. I appreciate your support and hanging with us for the duration of the show. And I would agree, this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much." But Chuck C, man, thanks for hitting the panel. You know I love you, bro. It's always a pleasure. You've been one of our biggest supporters since day one. I think you're the first person to hit the panel ever. So
I know. I think that was Mr. World Class. He beat me to
World
it.
class. World class.
No, you're right. You're right. My bad. Yeah, world class. Yeah, you're right.
Was the first one.
Correct.
But Chuck C's been rocking with us.
Yeah.
Since day one, he's been showing us love for sure.
And every day, yeah. And that's not to say world class hasn't. I've been to his panel. Nothing but welcome vibes over there. I love that man to death, and he comes over here and shows up. He's probably watching right now. But Chuck C, got to give you this man his flowers. When we get our first million, you know what I mean? We're gonna take you out for a steak dinner in fucking France. You know what I mean? Flight, everything paid. You have my word.
Well, hopefully that's not the first time, but on top of it, hopefully there'll be greater works that we do before we get there.
100%, my man, 100%. So anything you want to leave us with before we play a little video and check out?
Just another reminder, Aaron. I know we talked about it probably on a couple of shows before, but hopefully we get the tenets down of the things that we say in these conversations. We write them down, have them so a place that people can go back and access it. And then we can use these podcasts as our bibliography of what they need to do or how we obtained it.
Fucking perfect. Excellent. And that is the greatest advice. What are we doing if it isn't available in the future to those that we pass the baton to? Perfect advice, Chuck C, and I will adhere to it. I give you my word. Chill out. What do you got for us, man?
I'm gonna keep it as simple as it could be. Hood things: honorably obedient, overcoming dominantly throughout hardship, importantly noticing God's strength. Love yourself and everyone around you.
Word. That's my guy. That's the brand. That's the motto, the mantra. That is life. I'm gonna play this 3-minute. I don't even know what this is. I just see it in video clips. Keep us entertained. What is this? A bunch of pictures. Oh yeah. So this is the Hood Things brand. This is Maverick. Yeah. This is a picture. You know what? Yeah, me and the old girl. You know what though? No, what I will do, since we have a little bit of time, we talked about Cape May, right? And how the family likes to hang out. we do our thing. So I tell you what, why don't I?
Oh, you're Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna just play that one. I'm gonna play that one time. Yep, exactly. If I can find the damn thing.
We don't talk it, we live it, y'all. I know a lot of people say that, but we really try to prove it. We putting the money where the mouth is for sure. It's not no shit talking. Love y'all for tuning in, being in the chat, on the panel. Follow us on Instagram at The War Report. You'll see the symbol. Mr. Wormley, you'll see him. I'm Hood Things _United. Follow me, DM me. I do all my own manufacturing, y'all. No middleman. That's how we do it here in The War Report. Get your hands dirty and your mind right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Now let me see if I can. Damn, why can't I find this? Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. It's worth checking out. It's an awesome little clip. Do you know where I would do it, where I shared it with you?
I think you gave it to us personally on our phones. You sent it in the group chat.
Oh wait. Here we go. Well, I think no, here we go. Maybe I can do it this way. No, I got it. All right, here we go. Let me do it this way. Boom. Present. Share screen. Window. And then I just gotta blow it up. Is that too small?
Yes. There we go.
Yeah. It's probably not gonna. Oh well. Can you hear it?
No sound.
Can you hear it?
No. And we're back on our screen. It's you and me on the screen. It's you and me on the screen now.
All right, hold on. I got it now.
Technical difficulties.
Can you hear it?
No sound. Negative.
Oh well. You know it does work.
What's that? The outro?
Huh?
You said you know it does work. I said, what's that? The outro?
What outro?
No, it was
the outro that comes right after the part where I go. If you don't go when you want to go, when you do go, you find you're gone. I'm not going to do that. Voice of Venus is in the chat. We're not going to end just yet. I'm going to at least extend the opportunity because it's only right for her to hit the link. And we got JC the Conqueror in the building. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, this is the good part about being the producer of our own show.
you make these executive decisions. Yeah, no. Voice of Venus, you are more than welcome. Great hospitality on her panel. Always welcomes me. I just wanted to, extend the opportunity for her to. Yeah, come say
Okay.
hello.
She's the one that had the Maverick blushing. Yeah.
Yes, where Maverick was up there trying to drive and not crash.
Yeah.
That is the voice. Yes.
Voice of Venus. I tune in. Don't worry. I'm hood things on the chat.
Right.
I'm hood things.
So he's the third guy. This is Mr. Chill Out. Maverick is so these are the three of us. You missed the show? Well, it's there's always replay gang. But come on up and say hello if you'd like. I mean, we can we have until 9:00, really. And then we're gonna go over to This Might Be Risky for the women's POV. But if you would like to come, say anything, whatever, hit the link, you're more than welcome. We were just kind of cutting it off early. But an esteemed guest such as yourself, I'm not going to close the door on your face. At least give you the opportunity to say hello. So, but it was a good show, though. It was a hell of a build, right? Chill Out. We spoke about a lot, and
I came in pretty hot. I feel I caught some of the conversation, but as soon as you sent the link, and I heard what was going on, I think I was emotionally built up on some of these topics that I felt I had to get some things out in the open and off my chest about how I see and view things in a more aggressive manner. Like we gotta stop playing games. Fuck these games. We gotta give it to
them. And that's what we're about over here. We're not about pulling punches and playing games with anybody. Men, women. I mean, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, get down and lay down, but we're here to build success across the board. And there's so many people that are dropping the bomb, both men and women. I mean, galactic fuck ups. And you know what?
Nobody wants to be wrong.
Huh?
Nobody wants to be wrong.
Well, and here she is. Yeah. The voice of Venus in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Is this the first time you've been on the panel? I think it is. Welcome to the War Report. How are you, my dear?
Welcome.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me. I just clicked on, so I don't know what you guys were talking about, but I have to support Aaron. So what are you talking about?
So it was a continuation. He's partner of mine. It was a continuation of the show from DJ Hamp earlier, the midday show. Really, the conversation pretty much just kind of evolved around the way finances are looked at in the family structure and when vetting one another. And then we kind of went down the road of how the intangibles is a lost art when vetting. And that's with men and women. Things like integrity, purpose, discipline, emotional intelligence, passion, love, honesty, righteousness. All those things are kind of getting lost for the six-figure, the 666 or the, you know what I mean? All the different things that men want that are really just personalizations of hypersexuality. And when we talk about hypergamy, gammy is a word to denote marriage, and hyper is it's really like hyper marriage. And I think now the word should be hypersexuality on men's part and hyper materialism on women's part. And that's kind of where the breakdown in the family structure begins, and that we need to get back to, without going back in time, get back to understanding our genuine purpose and doing the best we can to adhere to those purposes. You know what I mean? To be a genuine provider, genuine protector, and to have a genuine household with, between man and woman. Like, what are we doing? Kind of was essentially the. You have any input, anything you'd like to say? I'd love to hear your perspective on where we're headed. And.
Oh, sorry, I was chewing.
I know it's dinner time. Yeah.
Because well, I have a lot of thoughts. I don't know
Or
exactly what happened, but Black people are kind of broken to me. Um, they don't see value in people in general, right? Because you spoke about like intrinsic value, and nobody seems to care about that because they're not valuing the human, right? Both on both
yeah,
sides. Like the women is the money, and for the men it's the sex, but
yeah,
no one's looking at the person, like what you value in people. That's just it doesn't exist.
right,
So we gotta start there. Like people have dehumanized the opposite sex on both ends and
yep.
reduced it down to like, how can you please me? And
What can
that's
you
really
do for me? Yep.
um I think there is an identity issue with Black people in general where they don't know who they are. So they can't value the greatness about themselves. So they definitely can't value it about anyone else, right? It's like a mixture of being in a society where you're trying to assimilate to so many different things. And so like kind of like a lack of awareness about self. And so you're kind of looking at your own race sometimes through that lens as well. So just a lot of different things that divides us. And I think you heard me speak about this early this morning, right? Which kind of pisses me off. I get very passionate about those things. Um, because I just wish Black people would see value first and foremost in themselves, in their own culture, in their own greatness, and look for that in each other rather than like this huge separation and want to tear each other apart. Like it translates into relationships as well. It doesn't just stop with like classism or I'm educated, you're not. It's like if you have a negative perspective on your people overall, that's gonna translate into everything you do. So, I mean, I just
You
think it's
know,
a ton of things.
you know what though? I'm gonna pass the mic to Chill. PJ Austin asked the question: did you hit the like button? How about the subscribe button? Yeah, please do so. If you're still listening, we have the legendary and illustrious, beautiful voice of Venus in the building, and she just dropped a gem. We missed that. She said we got to get back to knowing and loving ourselves as individuals. Because see, we were automatically playing tennis, right? Going to the other person, which we all can agree, but we missed that self love, self awareness. That where are you going if you don't have those things?
The only reason I say that is because you can't give what you don't have. So
You
how are
see,
you gonna properly love someone else when you haven't yet figured out how to properly love in general? Like that, it's just not a thing.
I think we're the only culture who are competitive even in adolescence, and I'm talking about outside of sports, right? Like my sneakers are better than yours, my clothes are better than yours, and we're talking about kids who don't even pay for their own shit yet, and then they become grown-ups who have that same mentality. So I agree with her 1,000,000%, but it definitely even at a young age, like we're the only culture who does that, right? You don't see these Asian and white kids doing that. Like if you don't have the newest Jordans on, you ain't shit. We're the only ones who do that. So from the beginning, there's no camaraderie and love or even understanding what that looks like. It's either you are a have or a have not.
And even that, why? Why though?
told you chill out. I wasn't gonna let the show end, and I'm sitting there looking at her in the chat. You see?
I can tell you
Be,
why.
be, be,
Oh,
well, my view is being already that divide and conquer thing that was established in our culture.
We
Right.
did talk about that earlier, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you got, Venus?
No, I agree with him. It's easy to look at our culture and be like, well, we are some of the most competitive, but I always try to get to like the root of things. But like, why? Is it because we were already positioned as a lesser than? So then there's this need to prove yourself and do it through material, right? So a lot of that inherent like insecurity, I guess, about like cultural insecurity or racial insecurity. So how can I be impressive? I can use material things, and then instead of like building each other up, I'm gonna like use this against somebody because I need to feel good around somebody. So I'm gonna look at my neighbor instead of the people who are oppressing me. I'm gonna look at you
Right.
and tear you down because that makes me feel good.
Right. My
Can you
peers instead of my oppressor.
can you read that, Venus? What's on the screen?
Yep, absolutely. Remnants of slavery.
That's what you were just saying. Cultural and racial insecurity and focusing on my neighbor as opposed to focusing on my oppressor. Couldn't have said it better.
It's like when you're in a relationship or a toxic relationship, let's be more clear. You use your partner as a verbal punching bag, right? Because they're the
Hello.
ones who are
Wow, yo. Wow. You see? And that's the thing about loving someone or being like, because we're there and available to one another, we're abusing that. Like, we're using each other as punching bags when we don't necessarily need to, should, or have to. But because we love each other, we're willing to be that punching bag, but the other person is beating us up rather than beating up the opposition. Yeah,
And not
go ahead.
necessarily on purpose either, right?
Not on purpose, right?
It's just all like a lot of learned behaviors that are problematic, like
Right.
now generational.
survival tactics. Is that safe to say?
Absolutely, like yeah, all of that. Because if you think about like our great great grandparents, right? Some of them like descendants of slaves.
Yeah.
Think about what abuse, what not abuse. I'm sorry, what discipline would look like to somebody who experienced that, right? And then how they're going to now implement discipline in their home because that's all they know. And then how their children are going to implement that to their children. And then like so generationally, a lot of some of the physical stuff has slowly changed, thank God. But a lot of the mentalities,
I,
perspective,
I
the way
I
we see
grew up.
people.
I grew up with a chancla to my backside, flip flop to my backside, and I'm sure my mom did, and her mom did, and I strongly tried to change that with my son, and I wasn't soft parenting because I don't think that works either. You have to be firm on what you stand and believe, but I definitely took out the physical discipline. I felt that wasn't going to be helpful or worked well. I just became more rebellious towards
Mm.
my mom, and
But
then was like, "Go ahead."
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was speaking just more than physical because the physical is a thing that actually got changed a lot, improved a lot. The mental, the psychological, the verbal, the emotional is what hasn't because it's not so obvious. So people love to act like they don't understand how problematic the mental part of it is, right? Like if you have these ideologies that are self-defeating, right? And you're passing that down to the children and you're shaping their perspective to look at their own group as negative. The men don't respect the women don't respect like all of that other stuff. Nobody's paying attention to, just being passed down.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my wife was just speaking about this the other day, and we were talking about those who were in toxic or abusive relationships and those who weren't, and they don't understand the damage that it does. But the one thing me and her agreed on was mental and verbal abuse sticks around a lot longer than the physical abuse does, even way after you have dissolved and passed on from relationships, let it be with lovers or even your parents. If your mom whooped you and your mom always told you wasn't going to be shit, the her telling you you're not going to be shit lasts a whole lot longer than that butt whooping, because now you're carrying this into your adulthood and you start to doubt yourself.
1000%.
And then
Black
that carries into
down.
your love
Black.
relationships.
I apologize. When you pause, I thought I'm sorry.
No, listen. We on this show together. We not windmilling. We not doing none of that. We gonna speak and talk, and we're on camera and all that. So I get it. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
Now this is you guys' show, so I want to be respectful. I was trying to say, damn, it'll come back to me.
No, we're as you're thinking, and I'm talking. We're human first, though. And if I met you in real life, this would be the same way we would converse. We might have ideas that might collide with one another. We might, something that you just want to get off your brain before you forget. And I love you respecting the show, but I respect human first, person first. Before we close the show, we were just talking about that. We don't just do it on the show. We do it in real life. I would treat you exactly the same way and give you the utmost respect, not because we're on YouTube or on the camera. I do that first.
Okay, I appreciate that. And I remember now, I was going to say, because of what you said about telling the kids they ain't gonna be ish. I'm gonna say a lot of the parents are responsible for tearing down so many people's self-esteem that suffers today is started with their own parents.
Yeah.
Certain things you just can't unhear and can't undo and can't unsee, can't unfeel, because people don't realize, like, to kids, your parents are God. That's literally God. When they speak, it just hits different, it resonates different, and it sticks. So if the God is telling you you ain't shit, you ain't never gonna be shit, you this, you that, and you live with them, right? So you're hearing this more than once. They damn near conditioning you to feel like whatever the thing is they're telling you. And then you got to go into the world and perform. But I was just talking about foundation this morning, like how if you don't have a strong foundation, your house can easily fall apart, right? So now the foundation in this kid is broken. There is none. There's no like confidence there. There's no like real like mental psychological fortitude to withstand obstacles, because there's nothing there to combat that. If they're telling the kid they're negative and you already put a bunch of negative thoughts about themselves in themselves, what are they don't have nothing in their arsenal to combat negativity. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a mess. I don't know.
True indeed. True indeed.
You have to be a special individual to rebuild yourself, and I'm speaking from that type of experience where I didn't get you're not ish, but I got no support.
Yeah.
At all, right? So it was emptiness in a way. And then you have to be like, I am good enough. You have to rebuild your own self. And I say sometimes when I look in the mirror, I go, I'm a little behind, but this was my path. And I'm not really behind. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, because I didn't get what I got when I was younger, but I got who I am now, right? And stop blaming. That was a whole set of years where I had to just stop blaming. Like my life became my own life, and understanding that my path is now my own path. And it made me become the person who I am to now be the reinforcement for my son, so that he never had to feel what I felt of the lack of emptiness and support. Go conquer this world. Go do what you know you can go do. So I look at that to me as a great learning curve in my own life, because though I didn't have it, I knew what was empty or what was missing. And what, for females and males, young and old alike, what you need to move forward is some just, especially when you're talking about your parents being God, positive reinforcement and helping them, like you're also saying, with a good arsenal and a set of weapons that they can go ahead and combat the world with. Because if you go out the house with no arsenal at all, and then you're learning these things as you go along in the streets, that damage is also very, very detrimental to the spirit and rebuilding that.
Right. Like the Bible says, put on the armor of God. Like I'm kind of comparing it to that, but like, yeah, you didn't give the kids any armor. And then you sent them to war. Like, come on now. Like you already put them at a disadvantage in a disadvantageous situation. It's horrible. So, I mean, I commend you because the other side of that is and it's not intentional, right? But people will perpetuate the same cycle. So I was torn down. Now I'm tearing my kids down because I think it's normal to speak to kids like this. Because I was raised like this and I'm okay, quote unquote, right? So then they think that's the way, that tough love stuff they always talk about, which I think there's a time and place for that, but they try to disguise abuse as tough love. It was just tough love. This is how I was raised.
Well, I think there's a thin line between the tough and the love part. I think you should do things out of love. And if you know and understand what the meaning of love is, then you understand the tough love. But it has to be out of love first. I
Right.
felt with myself was my mom fell short. My dad has passed now, so but he did what he had to do. Another, you missed that part. I won't reiterate that. But raised by my mom, the parts that she didn't do, right? And I was like, I probably missed a lot of great opportunities because of what was lacking there. So I will not allow my son to miss these opportunities, and I will make him aware of what his greatness is. So I definitely wasn't going to carry over that parenting to him. Now, was there some tough love there? For sure. If I had to discipline him, I spun the block an hour later and sat in his room on his bed and talked to him about why I disciplined it the way I did, what got me upset, what he did wrong, and what we need to do to not do that again. I felt like the way I would say it was like, I'm not going to leave him hanging in an emotional roller coaster where he doesn't even know which way to go. So I can't leave him stuck in this emotion, not knowing how to navigate through it or what he felt was a problem. We have to make sure that you understood what you did and what we can't do again and what we're going to do moving forward.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's definitely a time for it. I was just saying that people will disguise abuse as tough love, right? And we
I
know
agree.
the difference. But they don't understand same time. Like, well, I was raised this way and I turned out fine. That's what they tell themselves. So then they think that it's okay to do that to you.
Yeah, they're far from. We would be far from okay because we're reliving what I call it. How I want to put this. If you were bullied, you turn out to be a bully. And the people you bully is those weaker than you or those who trust in you, aka your children, 99% of the time. Right? So you're definitely not okay. I think you're far from okay. Personal opinion.
And I agree. I agree. But I think it's great that we are having these conversations because it really bothers me that black people try to act like, I don't know what it is, where they want to turn a blind eye to anything that's not tangible. It's like it doesn't exist. Like there are no psychological effects that affect behavior in relationships and parenting and whatever. Like they just act like people are just complaining. You just want to be a victim. They just want to dismiss things, not understanding like if you don't acknowledge these things, how can you start to fix them? That's how they made it so far through so many generations because nobody wants to acknowledge that part. And then they'll tell you like you're just trying to be a victim. Stop talking about that. Stop crying. You're making excuses. Like I just think they're lazy in thinking. They don't want to get into the why because it would require a lot of time and attention and understanding and then change behavior that nobody wants to do.
Yeah, no,
I think
true.
it. I think it
Go ahead,
draws up
bro.
a lot of. I think it draws up a lot of past emotion that they've been trying to bury, and they know that they need to get rid of, and they've been ignoring for so long. So now you have them digging up their, graveyard of bones of emotions that they've been trying to bury for so long and ignore, and now you'll make them have to bring these things to the surface to fix them, and they don't want to do that. But how I tell my wife this all the time. I don't like to bypass things, and I don't like the elephant in the room. I like to slaughter that thing and get rid of it. I don't want this thing sticking around. I need it out the way forever. If that means hard conversation, that means hard conversation.
I think one of the ways to have the hard conversations is to ensure that from both sides it's had in good faith and that it's had in a safe space built on trust and that both sides are interested in a unilateral success of both sides. And I think one way to do that is to understand one another. And I think this is a question, it's a great question. Is love a duty for a man? I don't think love is a duty itself, but I think love will manifest by a man, I guess, assuming duty, or love is manifested as. So, for example, I don't have a duty to love anyone, especially those I haven't met. I mean, there's agape love, right? Love for your fellow man, brotherly love. But the moment I met my wife, I didn't have a duty to her to love her. I just met you 6 seconds ago. I'm asking you your name as we speak. But because I've developed love for her, I now have a duty to her. Now my duty extends as far as to be willing to sacrifice life and limb because I love her. Right? But love itself isn't duty. Love will lead a man to duty. What you got, Joe?
I think we have a duty to maneuver with love, meaning that
Yeah.
that iron fist shit is no, right? If you and your wife, you know Denise, man, we speak, and if she's moving in an emotional fashion that may be making a turn, that she might be headed towards saying some things that might come out disrespectful. I have a duty to maneuver in love to get us back on track, to keep the conversation moving in a positive forward motion, right? So it means I have, but the duty is first to myself, right? You must love yourself to recognize what's going on. Then you have a duty to maneuver in love, not to love her, but to maneuver in love. If you want, even for your children, and you're disciplining them, you, like I was just saying with the Zay thing, right? It was to maneuver in love, circle back and let him not be stuck in this emotional bypass where he feels hanging in his emotions and doesn't know where to go. So I don't think it's a duty to love on someone, but as men, we have the duty to maneuver in love. We have to maneuver with love. Let it be the way we carry ourselves, the way we speak to one another and our women and our children.
I would agree with that. Yeah. I do believe that there's a direct correlation between duty and love that a man should absolutely understand, have, and honor. And sometimes that correlation can become causation. But yeah, everything you just said, 100% true. We do have a duty to move in love, especially for our women. But once that love has moved to Eros love, right, then duty really gets kicked up a notch. Duty becomes more absolute. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, I agree. When you add on an extra layer
Another, yeah, right.
of love and duty, now it becomes obligation per choice, right? If
Yes.
I decided to marry you, right, and I made this commitment, I made this obligation to you, right? Now I'm obligated to move in this due to self commitment and personal commitment towards you. Is all
Right.
the obligation and duty of love.
Right. That's a man
Definitely.
that stands on his word. You're a man of principle. You're a man of your word. You're an honorable man. And when you commit, yeah, 100%.
If I love myself and I treat myself a certain way,
There you go.
should I not reflect the way that I love myself? I wouldn't punch myself in the face. So why am I doing that? Right? I wouldn't.
Precisely.
I wouldn't talk down on myself. So why am I doing that?
Why
I
denigrate
wouldn't be
yourself through action?
I wouldn't belittle myself. So why am I doing that?
Scarface said it best. There's two things in this world I have, Chico: my word and my balls, and I ain't breaking neither one for nobody.
Not Chico.
Yeah, no, but that's true. Yeah, facts, man.
So back to what we saying is, if I like, we talking about just self, right? We're talking about self love, and if you look at that first, that's the way you need to operate. Single or in a relationship, when you meet the people you meet, you have to operate and speak out of love. This is the first time I met the voice of Venus. That's why I let her know I speak to you with respect, because that's how I would speak to myself. That's how I would carry myself. This is not now. Let's not get this twisted. If you disrespectful, I could be just as disrespectful, but that's not how we start off these things, right? I'm a person of reflection, not action. If you give me something, then I'll give that back to you. I don't need to be rude to you at all. And if you're rude and curse me out, I'm still going to try to walk you down until I can't. And then we'll, anyway, another show, another time. Back to what we're saying is, if I operate within myself in love, and I love myself, and I talk to myself with love, that's how I operate through this universe. I'm going to speak and talk to, and then you being my wife, I'm going to upgrade that even more. Now, let's be honest, in my younger years, my ignorance wouldn't even allow me to see that.
Right.
Right? Because
We all
of
have
my
time.
time.
Yeah, I think
I'm
we all.
sorry.
I think we all have a time. You just don't know better.
Yeah.
The women
Yeah,
too.
because
You don't
yeah,
know.
yeah,
You don't know better.
yeah. I didn't know anything. I was a kid. Even at 20 something, I'm a kid. 30 something, I just figured out I wasn't a kid anymore. I was just telling, um, who was I telling? I speak to a lot of people. I said, you don't know shit at 25, right? Because for the first 10 years, you just learned how to wipe your ass, right? You just learned, right? 15, you just learn how to take a full shower, wipe your ass, and now you learn how to heat up some ramen. So you're gonna tell me at 25 you really know something? You don't know shit. At 30, you just realize you didn't learn shit, and at 40, you realize you still got so much more to learn.
As somebody in the 30s, you ain't lying. Cause what? You be like, oh my god, this is
He's
You
like,
be
oh
like,
shit,
I just,
it got real.
wait, right? You're like, wait a second. Like you don't. So I'm telling this
I still
individual's
feel
probably
like a
early 20s.
child. Like I feel like a damn child in so many ways. Like it's crazy.
But we are. I mean, I'm in my 40s and I still feel like I'm just learning stuff, right? First of all, I just realized realization and then applying it, and I'm 40 something. How many things that I did wrong over again, thinking that this was the right thing to do, or fuck it, I like the way it felt, right? And then you turn around and go, hey, that's just not smart anymore, right?
Yeah.
Because you really are a child. Like you think about it, it takes you at when you're born, from the day you've been born, for the first year, 1 year, 12 months, 365 days, you are totally dependent on this person to change your diaper, feed you. You don't know how to, you can't, for the first 4 months, you don't even know how to pick up your own damn head. You're getting carried everywhere. So you're gonna tell me 5 years later you figured it out? 10 years later after that you know more? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. You don't know nothing. You are still learning and you don't know shit about nothing. And there's no way you're gonna tell me at 25 you're mature and you got it all figured out. Just 10 years ago, you just learned how to fucking take a shower and make oodles and noodles.
Well, that would be a cultural conversation because other cultures where the kids have to
Are
grow up
you
a lot
are
sooner,
you
like other
Are you
countries.
are you watching the same TikToks I am, where they got these kindergartners making making their own food and learning how to do embroidery in China in the kindergarten stage?
Well, I didn't see the TikTok, but I've seen things like that. Like to know, like in different countries, different cultures, they grow up. They are raised with a lot more responsibility. They are a lot more mature than like a 25-year-old American for sure.
Absolutely. Well, we're spoiled and entitled Americans.
We're
Period. I don't care. I don't care. Black, brown, white, green. If you were born here and raised in the American way, we are spoiled, entitled motherfuckers. All of us. All
I
of us.
don't know if I'll go that
All.
far, but I hear you.
Listen, I was on fire today. I'm not pulling no punches on nobody. If now I know that some of us look at those
Well,
things and go through challenges differently. I'm sorry.
well, I do have a question now. Because and I love what you put in the chat. Yeah, this is one of the things I live on and like. Um, yeah. How's the way I put it? The man who thinks he knows everything knows nothing, and the man who knows he knows nothing. No. The man who. Anyway, Venus said it. I like it. But no. What do you think about us being spoiled, Venus? That was a. I've been meaning to get your take on that for a while. What do you think about men and women and where we are today being spoiled?
I can understand why some people say that because what we consider poverty, go to Jamaica and ask what poverty is, right? Go to certain countries in Africa and ask what poverty is, and this will look like a joke. I mean, the worst conditions over here is nothing compared to certain places. I only know this because I have a lot of friends from the Caribbean, friends from Haiti, and the things they tell me, even present day, blows my mind, right? So I understand that perspective. So even when I say that, it's very hard for me to say no, we're not. But part of me feels like we have our own issues as well. They look different. Some may not be obviously as extreme, but I wouldn't call us all spoiled, right? Because there's a bunch of people in where is it, California, who are homeless right now, sleeping in tents, sleeping on the streets. There's no help for them, really. Um, there's a trend right now of like all these black single mothers who are being evicted. They don't have any help. They're sleeping in cars with their kids. So I don't know. Like the assumption that all Americans are spoiled. And I mean, I get it, right? Because somebody in another country could say, I don't even have a car to sleep in. I'm sleeping on a dirt road, right? So I mean, I understand it. I don't know. What do you think about it?
I think entitled,
Oh,
spoiled.
we're spoiled. I'm gonna break it down. You know, we Kenzo, right? They made get high houses for the dope fiends. That's not spoiled.
Well, do you know?
Entitled.
So Venus, you know what Kenzo is? It's all right. You ever hear of Kensington?
I heard of Kensington, but I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, Kensington here in Philadelphia is pretty much yeah, the drug capital. Look, if you ever want to find a place in Philadelphia you shouldn't walk barefoot by virtue of being able to step on a needle, is Kensington.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. So that's the area he's talking about. But I don't know if I would call. I mean, spoiled.
Oh, you're catering for sure to
Well, right,
these.
and that's what I'm saying. I think enabled is more the word. Because spoiled, when I think of spoiled, right, I think of someone that is completely unaware of the potential for poverty, and they don't like. I think of Paris Hilton when I think of spoiled, or the Kardashians, just sheer unawareness. And I think underneath that, then you have enabled, or no, entitled, and then underneath that you have enabled. I think you have to be enabled first, and then you have entitlement, and then you become spoiled. Because entitlement can simply be, I deserve this, you owe me this, but I'm well aware of what you know what I mean, like what it could be if I didn't get this. Spoiled is you're just sheerly unaware of what Venus was saying about, third world countries and stuff. And I don't know that we're spoiled because I think we're aware. I just think we're maybe entitled, where we believe that we don't we deserve more. We deserve what we see on Instagram. just by virtue of existing without having to earn it. And I think that is a result of being enabled because of the microwave era. Go ahead, Venus, what you got?
I just feel like people deserve help. Like, I feel like if this is a first world country and most of us who have jobs been paying taxes are since the beginning of time, right? There should not be people having to sleep in damn tents by the droves. I don't understand that.
That's
Especially when
true.
you have money to give to other countries, to give to other causes, then why is there like a homeless epidemic? I don't. So maybe it is a little bit entitlement because I do feel like at the very least, you're taking money from us every time we work, any employee anyway, and some business owners too. You know, how the business is structured. So why can't some of that money be used to help people who are here who need help?
No, I don't. I agree with you. I don't think that's entitlement. I think that's proper allocation. I think entitlement comes from people that don't at least try to do for themselves and just expect for others to do for them. But like homelessness, I'm sure most homeless people is not for lack of effort, especially veterans, right? But I don't think people like, for example, if you work a 9 to 5 at minimum wage, you got folks that think they're entitled to this lavish lifestyle. It's like, no, you got work to do. But like, if you're fucked up in the game and you've been trying all your life to do better, you know what I mean, to get up out the hood, and it just ain't happening. Like, yeah, it's absolutely up to the village to reach back and help those along. Because if we don't, we're crabs in a barrel. Essentially, we're no different. You know, especially with veterans, you know what I mean? Like, homeless vets shouldn't exist. If we have enough money, and I agree with you, Venus, if we have enough money to send to Ukraine, shout out to Ukraine, right? God bless Ukraine. But if we have money to send to them in billion-dollar chunks, we have enough money to solve homeless and hunger in America, especially among the veterans.
No
But
veteran should
even beyond veterans.
oh my god, no veteran should ever be homeless. Like that to me does not make any damn sense. Now I might be biased because my father's a Marine. He was actually in the Vietnam War, and I understand what that did to people, like psychologically and everything.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't know. That is just I don't understand. It's like people went
Just even person.
for the
I'm sorry.
country, so the same country won't like provide. I don't know. I don't get it. Now I don't know this. I don't understand though because my father is set up pretty well, like financially right now. So I don't really get why some vets are like I don't know. I don't really understand that part. I just assumed everybody had the package he has. I don't really know why some of them are homeless. I don't get it.
Some of it can be due to like, and I think
Mental stuff.
yes, I was gonna exactly. Yeah, mental issues. Um some can just be lack of awareness or understanding that these resources are even available to them. Right. But I think there should be a greater outreach program that can solve those problems. It shouldn't necessarily be up to each and every individual vet because make no mistake, the VA makes it difficult, right? I'm a vet as well, and it is a bitch trying to get what's owed to you. But I think there should be outreach programs to solve issues like what Frozen said, no family support, to go out and bring the resource to those who it's owed. I think that would solve a lot of the problem.
Yeah, because they have them recruiters office, those recruitment offices, right? And with
Listen, they'll
yeah,
come find your ass to get you to sign up, right?
right.
Exactly.
I have to run. I
Me
appreciate you
too.
guys for having me.
Yeah, we're gonna bounce too. Yeah.
I know you extended the show for me. I appreciate it.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am. Of course, 100%. You're welcome anytime. I appreciate you coming to support. It's your first time, and I'm happy you hit the link. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
I support anyone who supports me.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we at the War Report love and support the Voice of Venus. I will actually, when we're done, I'm going to put your link in the description. Shout out to the Voice of Venus. Go check her out. She has a dope show covering lots of great material. I've been there before. Her hospitality is second to none. I love what they got going on over there, and I like seeing her in other panels and chats. We're good friends in this space. So thank you so much for showing up. Much appreciated to the Voice of Venus. Mr. Chill Out. I think we can end it this time. I wasn't gonna end it without saying hello to see now we got the chat is bumping. But listen, while we have 18 people watching, how about we just take the party over to This Might Be Risky for the women's POV on Tuesday night and continue there. Tomorrow, check us out here on the War Report. What time do you think we're going to start the cooking show?
6 to 7. You think before dinner? You tell me.
Let's say tune in at 5 or 6 tomorrow, just so you don't miss any of the action. We're going to do a cooking show. We made some improvements from the last cooking show. Thank you, Miss Orchid, all the way from down under. I don't know what time it is there. It's probably 9 in the morning or something.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, no, we're going to do a cooking show tomorrow. Thank you, Deborah Kim. Push the like button on your way out. Greatly appreciate that support. Absolutely. She says it is 11:23 a.m.
Well, thank you very much for tuning in.
What did I have for dinner today? I got some barbecue jerked wings. I'm getting ready to go eat now. It's late. My daughter, chill out. Ariel had a great start to the school year this year. So my wife took her on an impromptu trip to go see Coraline. They brought it back out in the movie theater. So she's killing it in school. So my wife was like, "You're in here podcasting, I'll take her out and go to the movies, girls' night on a random Tuesday." So that's great.
It is great.
But I'm going to go eat me some chicken wings.
I'm going to tune in to the Hamp show, and I'm going to go spend some time with my wife before she conks out on her birthday.
Indeed. Happy birthday, Denise. Love you, sister girl. Mr. Chill Out, man, I love you. Thanks for coming up and hosting this with me. This is a great show, as always.
I love you, brother.
Thanks to everybody in the chat. We're going to go to This Might Be Risky for the women's POV. What do you say, Will?
I said thank you, chat.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate the support.
You want to come say goodbye to everybody on the channel? All right. Orchid from the other side of the world. It's 11:23 in the morning. Says, Ariel, such a beautiful name. Orchid, that's there. So here, come say goodbye. Say bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Tomorrow.
All right, folks, take care of yourselves. We love you and appreciate the support tomorrow in the kitchen at 5 o'clock here at the War Report. This is the big guy, Iceman, a.k.a. Big Aaron, signing out. And as always, if you don't go when you want to go, when you do go, you'll find you've gone. And this time, we're going to go. Peace.